Liu Sheng had come to his college 7th St. Martial University, and as soon as he came here, he beat up everyone here. He told them that there is no one more powerful than him and there is no need to trouble him. Otherwise the consequences will be bad. And friends, if you want me to include the old chapter of this story too, then let me know by commenting. And don't forget to like the video and subscribe to the channel. Your channel Manhwa Era. Liu Sheng wanted to increase his power as soon as possible, so he goes to the cold training classroom. He chooses spear as his cold weapon. The cold weapon practice classroom is located in the south of the campus. Liu Sheng and Lin Zi stopped when they passed by a signboard with spear training room. He walked towards the small square. Lin Zi naturally didn't say anything, so he followed quickly. There are very few juniors, almost all sophomores. The arrival of Liu Sheng attracted the attention of many people, and soon someone recognized him. It's Liu Sheng. I didn't expect that the cold weapon he chose was a spear. Who is Liu Sheng? This year's Dragon Warrior champion, the strongest freshman. Haven't checked the campus network for the past 2 days. When Liu Sheng walked to the small square, there was women with red hair teaching the students. When the teaching was almost done, women announced, "Okay, everyone can leave, get out of class now. If you want to stay and practice for a while, you can do that too." Concluding her statement, she looks towards direct Liu Sheng and Lin Zi and says, "You two, come up here. My name is Liu Ruking. I teach cold weapons and spear courses for 1st to 3rd year students. Today, there are only the 2 of you who showed up. Very well, take turns coming forward with the spear to attack me. Let me see your aptitude and potential." Liu Sheng thinks after listening to her. This female teacher is full of vitality, and he was already a martial arts master at the peak of the 6th level. The female teacher was also thinking after seeing Liu Sheng. Is he the recently famous Liu Sheng? Liu Sheng didn't talk nonsense. Holding the spear with one hand, stepped forward a few steps and walked in front of Liu Ruking. Then Liu Ruking suddenly attacks Liu Sheng. Liu Sheng escapes from this attack and goes away, seeing which Liu Ruking is happy, not bad. Liu Sheng's face was calm, and his eyes looked like ancient pools that hadn't changed for thousands of years. He held the spear in one hand, and his posture was straight, faintly blending with the spear in his hand. And breathing was the link between the two. "Then I won't hold back, so be careful." Liu Ruking smiled, but did not speak, telling me to be careful. Although I haven't reached the level of Grandmaster, I've been studying spears for decades. Even facing a Grandmaster, I won't fall behind. A mere new student who just entered school a few days ago, still warning me to be careful. Ruking hadn't finished his thoughts when he suddenly saw a black light that seemed to pierce the white screen, and quickly enlarged in front of him. Liu Ruking's pupils shrank sharply, subconsciously raised his spear to defend. After several consecutive spear barrel collision sounds, a large black spear fell to the ground, rolled a few times, and stopped. Liu Ruking's body was stiff, and he kept one movement and stood in place. His neck was tense, and drops of sweat dripped from his corners. I saw a blunted spear point hovering quietly 3 inches in front of his throat. The piercing sharpness shot out from the smooth spearhead, making his scalp tingle, as if the heavenly spirit cover was about to be lifted off. In the huge small square, there was no sound, and a needle could be heard. Everyone stared at Liu Sheng, who held a spear in one hand and looked calm, and were all stunned. There is an old student who is holding a phone to take pictures. His mouth is wide open, and he is completely motionless. Some even didn't even hold the spear in their hands, and only reacted when it fell to the ground with a click. Liu Sheng nodded and stopped. "Sorry if I offended you." Liu Ruking tried his best to calm down her expression and tone, and spoke slowly. "Is it possible that intricate mastery, his spear technique is at an intricate mastery level? I didn't even last 3 moves. My weapon was directly knocked away. No, judging by how relaxed he looks, it's definitely more than just reaching an intricate mastery level. Could it be the state of mastery?" Liu Ruking thought about his words, and said to Liu Sheng with a complicated expression, "I didn't expect you to be proficient in spear techniques. At this age, you actually have such skill. The lesson in cold weapons training, you've already graduated. Your spear skills are already great. What is lacking is actual combat. I can tell there's no scent of blood on you. In that case, go to the task center to collect your mission. You can also visit the Martial Saint Tower and the cold weapons training room." Liu Sheng will write down the 3 places mentioned by Liu Ruking, and then said to Ruking seriously, "Thank you for your guidance." Liu Ruking nodded with a complicated face. He can only point out so many things. He announced on the first day that he could graduate. He had been a spear instructor at the 7th St. Martial Arts University for so many years, and this was the first time he had encountered such a student. talented as a demon. Since Liu Ruking said that he could finish his studies, Lu Sheng didn't talk nonsense, put the training spear back where it was and prepared to leave. When passing by Lindsay, he patted him on the shoulder and said earnestly, "Since that's the case, I'll head to the task center first. You stay here and practice diligently. I'll come over to see you when I have free time." After speaking, Lu Sheng left without looking back. Lindsay stood there with his mouth open. Now in his heart, Lu Sheng is simply godlike character, and those old students who looked stupid the moment after Lu Sheng left burst into bursts of intense exclamation and discussion. Credit Mission Hall, Marshall St. Tower, Cold Weapon Training Room, Lu Sheng's first destination mission center. There was a lot of traffic in the central hall. Almost all of them were juniors and seniors. This can be seen in every way. The old students in the sophomore year still have youthfulness, but the junior year almost doesn't have it. And the fourth year is full of the smell of old fritters. There are many windows in the mission center hall, and a huge LCD screen hangs in the middle, and a piece of mission information is scrolled on the screen. Some are like the flight announcements of high-speed rail stations and airports. Many people stood underneath, watching and discussing with each other. Lu Sheng also walked up and mixed in the crowd to check. Sea-level mission. Capture a level 3 warrior fugitive involved in a homicide. Lethal force authorized if necessary. Mission requirements: level 3 warriors or above with some combat experience. Mission reward: cash, 5 academic credits. B-level mission: capture a level 4 warrior fugitive involved in a homicide. Has accomplices. Lethal force if necessary. Mission requirements: level 4 warriors or above with considerable combat experience. Mission reward: 2 million in cash, 20 academic credits depending on the number of fugitives killed. A level mission: capture a level 5 warrior fugitive involved in a homicide. Armed and dangerous. Lethal force authorized if necessary. Mission requirements: level 5 warriors or above, extensive combat experience, outstanding performance in cold weapons training. Recommended for a team of 2 or more. Mission reward: 10 million in cash, 50 academic credits. Lu Sheng looked at it for a while, feeling a little bewildered. Why is it all about arresting fugitive suspects? An old student next to him turned his head to look at him when he heard it, and said in surprise, "Is this your first time to pick up a mission? This morning is all about wanted criminal missions. The task of alien beasts will be released in the afternoon. All other tasks are at night." After finishing speaking, the old student looked Lu Sheng up and down, his expression even more surprised. Lu Sheng appeared under a window in a flash. "Oh, I see. In that case, I'll take task first." Lu Sheng chooses a good mission like this. The boy was surprised to see the purple sheet mission in Lin's hand. Double a level mission. Are you sure? Does he understand the difficulty of this task? If you have any sense, quickly apologize for the mistake. He turned his head and looked at Lu Sheng in surprise, as if he was waiting for Lu Sheng to say something like, "Oh, I'm sorry, I reported the wrong number." But he was disappointed. "Is there a higher mission than double a level?" Lu Sheng asked. The boy's expression suddenly became a little cold. "Classmate, I warn you, if you come to amuse me on purpose, I can report to the school and deduct your credits." Sheng also frowned. "Why, aren't you here to pick up the mission window?" The boy sneered at him and said, "The mission requires a level or above, with a full completion of cold weapons training credits and strong combat skills. You, a freshman who just entered, do you meet these requirements?" Lu Sheng didn't talk nonsense to him. He just took something out of his pocket and patted it in front of the boy. The boy glanced lightly, and his eyeballs almost protruded from their sockets. "This is a very beautiful badge, mostly composed of silver, with golden patterns mixed in the middle. In the middle of the badge is an exquisite 6-character, level 6 warrior badge." Well, the boy picked up the badge, looked at it for a while, then raised his head in disbelief, looked at Lu Sheng and said, "Is this yours?" Lu Sheng remained expressionless, and Pingping stretched out his right hand. Between the white and slender 5 fingers, there is a real golden aura rolling, flowing back and forth like liquid gold, with dazzling radiance flashing. "Will you let me try punching you?" The boy shivered violently, and then looked at Lu Sheng's icy eyes, and suddenly felt a chill run down his back. The task also requires that the major in cold weapons must have full credits. The boy bit the bullet and opened his mouth. Lu Sheng said indifferently, "Just an hour ago, my spear techniques class instructor, Liu Ruking, just acknowledged my graduation. I think it will be added to the count very soon. You can go and inquire." "Oh." The boy nodded stiffly and said, "Then please take out your student ID card and I'll register it." Tasks above a level require approval from the school leadership. It's not like you can just take any task you want. Lu Sheng readily handed over his student ID card. The boy took the student ID card from Lu Sheng with both hands, looked at it carefully, and looked up at him in surprise. "You are Lu Sheng. How long are you going to dawdle? Believe it or not, I will complain to you directly." Lu Sheng was really impatient. The boy quickly became silent and quickly told, "I will notify you as soon as the review results are out." The boy returned Lu Sheng's student ID card. Lu Sheng nodded, didn't bother to say anything more to him, grabbed the student ID card and the 6th level warrior badge on the windowsill, and left. "It's almost mealtime. I'll go to the Martial Saint Tower in the afternoon." At the same time, Huodong was practicing his weapon. Not bad. Someone who has never practiced knife skills actually mastered the basic knife techniques in just 2 hours. In a small square, Huodong, holding a knife in one hand, stood beside a middle-aged man with fair skin, listening to the other party's generous praise and appreciation. All the freshmen around him looked at him with envy and admiration. There were whispers, "Certainly practiced in secret." "Nonsense, would the teacher not be able to tell whether or not you've practiced?" "Fart, have you ever held a knife and the instructor can't tell?" "Huodong doesn't have any calluses on his hands." "That's really awesome." Huodong heard these words in his ears and felt that the lost confidence in his chest was regained bit by bit. He gently stroked the long training knife in his hand. The blade trembled slightly as if responding to him. "Perhaps these people don't know yet, but my elemental control talent is metal, naturally inclined towards cold weapons. Every warrior with metal elemental control talent is a genius in cold weapons, without exception. I can even feel the breath of the knife in my hands." "So what about Lu Sheng? He's not here anyway. I don't believe he can be better than me at everything." Directly, a freshman was holding a phone in his hand, staring at the screen of the phone with an expression of extreme disbelief on his face. "Oh my goodness. Unbelievable. It's too unbelievable. Look at the campus network." Everyone was pretty much the same. First they took out their phones, and then they said damn it. Their faces were full of shock and disbelief. Huodongman suspected Du pinched the single knife in his arm to his armpit, and quickly took out his phone. Log into the campus network, set the homepage to the top, and a few posts marked with 7 or 8 small flame icons at the back came into Huodong's eyes. The most formidable anomaly in history graduated in 20 minutes, breaking 7 new records, defeating a cold weapon instructor in 3 moves. Just how powerful is Lu Sheng's spear technique? Subtle mastery in spear technique. Mastery spear technique. A complete analysis of Lu Sheng's strength in version 2.0. After seeing this post completely, Huodong's eyes darkened, and he almost fainted. His hand holding the phone trembled slightly. The single knife in his arm had already fallen to the ground, and his eyes were blurry. Huodong felt as if something was rapidly collapsing in his heart. "Teacher, I want to change my major." In the spacious and flat courtyard, a slender and handsome young man is practicing sword. His swordsmanship was quick and elegant, and there seemed to be wisps of fresh wind lingering around him. The white stellar energy flowed up and down the young man's body, dripping to the tip of the sword, like a spirit snake spitting out a letter. The young man flicked his wrist suddenly, and the white kai from the tip of the alloy-long sword shot out violently, hitting a rockery 7 or 8 meters in front of him in the shape of a small half-moon. The rockery exploded instantly, blasting into hundreds of pieces of gravel of different sizes. Mess everywhere. The young man drew his sword and stood still, panting slightly, walked aside and picked up a white towel to wipe off the thin sweat on his face, then picked up a bottle of mineral water and drank slowly. "Yixuan, your Jan King Q move is much more powerful than before. If Xiao Lan challenges you again, maybe you will defeat him within 100 moves." A slender, good-looking girl in a sports suit walked up with a smile. The handsome young man swallowed the water in his mouth and said casually, "Xiao Lan is just an underling, nothing more than defeated general. My current target is the top 10 people on the 7 Saints list. Only they are qualified to be my opponents. With your current strength, you may already have the strength to become the top king of the 7 Saints list," the girl said. The handsome young man shook his head. "If I haven't condensed the slightest trace of my martial will, I don't have a chance." The girl comforted. "I don't know how many people are stuck in the natural mode of levels 6 to 7. Even the top martial arts geniuses here have to spend a lot of time to understand their minds and see their nature and seek their true self. How can it be so easy to be a master? It is not so much a matter of talent, it is more a matter of luck." The handsome young man nodded in agreement. "Oh, by the way, I found a very interesting new student today. Let me show you." The girl thought of something, took out her phone and handed it to the young man. "A freshman who has just entered school for a few days. Cold weapons took the first class, and they beat up the tutor directly." The handsome young man showed a bit of curiosity on his face, looking at the phone. After watching the video, the young man couldn't help showing a bit of emotion and amazement. I have fought against Professor Liu, and I am considered strong among all the weapon class instructors. If you want to knock down the spear in his hand within 3 moves, you can't do it without a high level of spearmanship. Liu Ruking is too careless. The young man glanced at the comments under his eyes, shook his head and rejected. It's too exaggerated. It's impossible. The girl laughed and teased him. You are the #1 old student. Seeing such a fierce junior, do you feel a sense of crisis and urgency? At this moment, the handsome young man has broken free from the complicated emotions, and the arrogance on his face has returned. You think my 4 years in the 7th St. Martial University are for nothing. Realm is realm. Actual combat is actual combat. No one is qualified to be my opponent, Chen Yixuan. However, this Lu Sheng is truly exceptional. Perhaps very soon, I will be able to see him. So now, Lu Sheng has officially entered the sight of some people. Are you Lu Sheng? We're sent by Mr. H to deliver the package. Please sign for it. That's right, I am Lu Sheng. Thank you for your hard work. Lu Sheng used his mental power to open the box. Then the courierman told him, the shaft of this long spear is crafted using a large amount of dense silver and dense iron. It is also blended with an extremely rare dense gold. The spearhead is crafted with flame crystal. It is crafted using a special alloy steel mixed with a large amount of dense iron and dense silver, as well as a small amount of dense gold. Master level cold weapon, near 7th grade long spear, crimson crystal dragon pattern spear. The light golden wind lingered around Lu Sheng, eliminating the resistance brought by the air along the way. The courier guy leaves after giving his delivery. Then Lu Sheng looks at the spear and says, with this crimson crystal dragon pattern spear, my combat power increases at least 30% or more. Next, what I need to do is quickly familiarize myself with the Crimson Crystal Dragon Pattern Spear. In Zhao Xuan's memory, it was mentioned to establish a connection between humans and spears, cultivating a spear with a soul. This is more than 100 times stronger than ordinary cold weapons. And the method of cultivation is also very simple. Lu Sheng took a deep breath and stood up holding the spear. Wisps of crimson flames burst out from the pores of his skin and spread towards the spear body. The golden lines on the silver-gray spear quickly lit up bit by bit, connecting into a gorgeous dragon pattern. Against the backdrop of the flames, it looks like a real red fire dragon entwined and clinging to the gun body. When the gold-plated flame climbed to the spearhead, the original light red spearhead burst into bright red light, jumping on the spearhead like a group of raging flames. The light in Lu Sheng's eyes flashed, and he walked away with the spear. Even the phantoms dragged out of the air are accompanied by gorgeous streamers of flames. The aura on Lu Sheng's body gradually subsided, because the gorgeous flame effects on the crystal dragon pattern spear also slowly dissipated. What I have to do now is to get familiar with the feel of the red crystal dragon spear as soon as possible, and build a connection between people and the spear. This is very important. A cold weapon that has been with warriors all year round, has the same heart, and has a soul is definitely not comparable to ordinary cold weapons, and want to cultivate the soul of the red crystal dragon spear as soon as possible. The method is very simple. Lots of practice. Start with blood. The blood here is not ordinary blood, but the blood of a powerful enemy. That is, fighting. A real battle of life and death. Taking other people's flesh and blood, living soul, will, as food, crushing it, and feeding it with the shocking sharpness of its own soldiers. He didn't hide his strength, and went straight to Marshal Saint Tower. Seeing such a huge crowd there, Lu Sheng says, do we need to register and wait for notification even to enter the Marshal Saint Tower? Inside the window, a woman in her 30s with delicate skin looked at Lu Sheng speechlessly, and said, nonsense, do you know how many people apply to enter Marshal Saint every day? At least tens of thousands, if not more. The Marshal Saint Tower has a total of 30 rooms. Only 30 people can enter each time. You're a student of Shengui University, so you already have privileges. Those warriors outside need to apply at the Martial Arts Association first before joining the queue. I'm very happy that it happens once a year. Lu Sheng never expected that it would be so troublesome to enter the Marshal Saint Tower. When can I expect to get in then? See how long the people inside can last. There are more than 200 students applying before you. If you hurry up, 3 to 5 days will be enough. Lu Sheng was silent for a while. Head. Okay, I see. Please let me know when the time comes. Considering how handsome you are, I'll notify you in advance. But it's best to arrive within 10 minutes after receiving the notification. Otherwise, you'll have to wait for another 3 to 5 people before it's your turn again. Lu Sheng said he knew, and walked out of the Marshal Saint Tower with a weapon bag. After walking out of Marshal Saint Tower, he turned his head and looked up. The majestic martial saint tower soars into the sky, and you can feel the detachment and majesty even more from a closer look. Martial Saint Tower is much bigger than he imagined. The base is almost as thick as 4 or 5 buildings combined, and each floor has 30 martial arts training rooms, decrease upward by several layers. The whole tower presents a triangular shape. Lu Sheng spread out his mental power, and he could clearly perceive the vast and solid will emanating from the tower like a sword soaring to the sky. In Lu Sheng's spiritual force 337, the entire martial saint tower is glowing, like a huge fluorescent cylinder. This is the power of martial arts will, a terrifying and powerful martial arts will. It is huge that Lu Sheng has never seen before. Compared with this will, the master's will in his mind is like a firefly to Heiyu. Its radiance is incomparable. Although the master's will in my mind is not perfect, the gap is too exaggerated. Is there such a big gap between a 7th level Grandmaster and a 9th level Martial Saint? Lu Sheng was amazed. Facing the Martial Saint Tower, he felt as if he was looking up from a high mountain. Forget it, don't be in a hurry. The rarer the resource, the more people it attracts. That's normal. I'll head to the cold weapons training room today and get familiar with the new weapon. Thinking about it, Lu Sheng picked up his weapon bag and headed towards the cold weapon training room. Temporarily full, Lu Sheng's face was calm, but countless black lines rose in his heart. Seems like Murphy's Law in action. Does drinking cold water and getting a toothache count as bad luck? When did Shangwu University become so crowded with students? Wasn't it agreed that each person would have an area of up to 100 acres? Holding the weapon bag tightly with his right hand, Lu Sheng took a breath and said calmly, "Forget it, then I'll come back tomorrow." The administrator nodded. "You remember that tomorrow is early, 7 or 8 in the morning is the emptiest." "Hey, Lu Sheng, wait a minute." At this time, someone behind him called Lu Sheng's name. Lu Sheng turned around and saw the administrator of the training room who had just dealt with run-up wheezing. "Someone just left right on time. I quickly added you in. Come over quickly." Lu Sheng glanced at the other party in surprise. "Do you know me?" The administrator of the practice room smiled, took out his phone and shook it. "Hehe, who doesn't know you now? Your videos on the campus network are really popular. Anyway, thank you for your help." Lu Sheng thanked the administrator earnestly. "Small things." The administrator smiled at Lu Sheng. "People online are claiming that Lu Sheng is ferocious like a demon king. He seems to be quite polite and gentle. I don't know either. I wonder if his strength is also exaggerated. I wonder about his first time coming to the training room. To what extent can the training be completed?" What appeared in front of Lu Sheng was a rather spacious room, which was empty and contained nothing. Lu Sheng recalled that the agility training room he had entered in the Genius training camp had a similar appearance. Thoughtful, he had a rough guess about the way of cold weapon cultivation. Lu Sheng took off his shoes and walked into the training room barefoot. "The first stage of cold weapon training is about to start, please prepare." A melodious mechanical notification sounded in the room. Lu Sheng unhurriedly opened the weapon bag and assembled it in less than a second. With the red crystal dragon pattern in his hand, Lu Sheng's whole demeanor changed. Become more confident, more high-spirited, sharper, and more sharp. Accompanied by a warning sound, iron beads the size of broad beans shot out from the 5 walls of the room. Lu Sheng's eyes were calm, and the spear moved with his body. In the training room, a fire dragon roared, and the iron beads turned red in the flames, and then shattered under the shock of the aura attached to the spear. Lu Sheng swept his spear, and the iron beads all over his body were wiped away the moment they flew out. The training is over. The result, the completion of the first stage of training is 20%. Well, Lu Sheng froze for a moment, his expression a bit astonished. Failed. He didn't know what was wrong. Mental power scanned the room carefully, and finally found the reason on a notice posted at the entrance of the room. During the training process, it is prohibited to use any means other than one's own physical strength, including spiritual energy, elemental forces, and so on. Lu Sheng understood after a little thought. So, that's how it is. That's true. If one could use spiritual energy and, coupled with cold weapons, sweep through a large area, the training would lose its meaning entirely. The refinement of skills naturally can only be done with physical strength. Knowing the key, Lu Sheng reset the first stage of training. Soon, a large number of iron beads shot out from the holes in the wall again. This time, Lu Sheng's eyes were like still water, and he controlled the spear with only physical strength. He can fight at a 1,000,000-level battle strength based on his vitality and blood alone. Coupled with the super high quality of the red crystal dragon pattern spear, it is too simple for him to smash a few small solid iron balls. The difficulty lies in how to smash them all without falling. The silver-gray spear danced in the air like a spirited snake. The iron balls that flew out of the hole in the wall were crushed by the terrifying concussion and strangling force before they could touch the spear body, turning into clusters of iron shoulders and falling to the floor of the room. After a few breaths, the first wave of iron beads passed. Then came the second wave. Lu Sheng originally thought that the second wave would still be iron balls, and the speed and number of shots would increase. But what he didn't expect was that the beads shot out this time were light and floating, and they turned out to be wooden balls. A flash of light flashed in Lu Sheng's mind, and he seemed to understand something at once. Indeed, the cold weapon training room hones the warrior's skills. It tests the use and mastery of weapons. Iron turns into wood, seemingly reducing both lethality and speed, lowering the difficulty. Actually, it's the opposite. The lighter the shot balls, the more easily they are affected by the airflow. Before hitting the target, it could be swept away by the wind from blades or spears, and even if it doesn't blow, the movement trajectory will become completely unpredictable. Now, it's just as described in martial arts novels from past lives. Plucking flowers, flying leaves, drawing a sword and cutting through water. It is a similar reason. What you practice here is not strength, but the ultimate control of strength, which is the pinnacle of skill. Lu Sheng's eyes suddenly brightened, and he suddenly felt that the so-called cold weapon training room became interesting. In the training room, a figure looks like a dragon. The spear in his hand danced like a spirit snake, accurately crushing all the beads in the air. In the room, countless messy debris piled up and scattered, forming a thick garbage layer on the floor of the room. However, the circular area with Lu Sheng as the center origin and the radius of the arm span plus the length of the spear is as clean as ever, and not even a little bit of debris can be seen. It's like an oasis in a garbage dump, which is quite strange. The shadows of spears weave together, forming a semicircular silver-gray barrier. Any objects that attempt to enter this barrier will be crushed and wiped out. Lu Sheng's figure and the shadow of the spear in his hand were extremely fast, but he didn't make any sound of piercing the air. In the room, only the sound of objects being ejected from the circular hole in the wall, and the subtle sound of objects breaking. It was as if around Lu Sheng was a pure vacuum. The contrast between extreme noise and quietness, extreme speed and extreme slowness presents a picture with great visual and auditory impact. Unfortunately, no one saw it. The shadows of the spears that were approaching the limit suddenly disappeared. Lu Sheng's figure reappeared in the center of the room. He exhaled slowly, and the long breath created a small whirlwind in the room, blowing the garbage debris on the ground. In the short few hours of practicing in the cold weapon training room, the tacit understanding between him and the red crystal dragon pattern has improved rapidly and exploded. According to this progress, I am afraid that it will not be long before the spear feeling can be fully cultivated, and the next stage of soul cultivation can be smoothly entered. During the training period, Lu Sheng also opened his eyes to this so-called cold weapon training mode. From the iron balls at the beginning, to the wooden balls, plastic balls, water balls, popcorn, foam, and even to the final feathers. It's no longer as simple as just needing to control cold weapons. Not only should there be no leakage of any martial arts power, but one must also accurately master physical strength. In every aspect, it's simply impossible without several decades of hard work. Lu Sheng now has the feeling that he knows his body clearly and clearly, even for someone like me who possesses the Four Realms spear technique and inherits the memories of two martial arts grandmasters. Several times along the way, I almost failed. This round of practice is equivalent to consolidating all the unstable and unsettled parts within my body. With a more solid grounding in the Zidao basics by threefold the bottleneck in perceiving subtle nuances through the appreciation mirror starts to loosen. The second form of the complete Zidao is signaling to me. Lu Sheng stands for so long and then thinks why the next stage training has not started yet. Lu Sheng looked at the screen and then he realized all the 5 phases in this training room has been completed. Lu Sheng felt a little regretful, and he still had a lot to say. But there is no way, it can only end here. Let's come and review this every day from now on. If it doesn't have any effect on me after repeated reviews, then we can reconsider. Lu Sheng casually picked up the weapon bag. Then he opened the door of the training room and walked out. Full again. It's been full for me for the past 3 days straight. Is there a mistake or something? A girl with an alloy long knife wrapped in cloth strips stood in front of the window and said with a frown. The beautiful administrator looked helpless. Shouting at me won't help. There are only a few training rooms in total. Why don't you go and suggest to the school leaders to build more? The girl with the knife muttered as she walked out. Then she sees Lu Sheng coming out of the room. Seeing this, the girl becomes very happy that now I can go to the training room. Then the administrator laughs and tells the girl, "Your luck is good, someone just came out. Hurry, go in. Training room number 8. At the same time, the girl with the knife on her back was excitedly swiping her card to enter the training room number 8 where Lu Sheng had just stayed. The girl was talking to herself, her eyes were full of joy and happiness. But when the door opened and she saw the scene inside, she was stunned. Oh my god, is this a garbage dump? Our MC trashed this entire room. After our MC leaves the training room, a girl comes there, but she is shocked to see the condition of the training room, because there was so much garbage in the training room that she felt like she had come to a junkyard. Then she grits her teeth angrily and says, "Oh my goodness, what's the difference between this and a garbage dump?" That guy, looking at that person, fair and clean. I didn't expect him to be a garbage king. She reached out and slammed a button on the wall. Immediately, suction holes appeared on the edge of the room floor, and they began to clean up the garbage on the ground. That girl was looking at the entire training room, and then her eyes fall on the garbage and she makes a straight face while picking up some garbage and says, "Erg, it's really tough on him. He's actually able to produce so much garbage in such a small cultivation room. What is this? Popcorn and feathers. What is this supposed to be? Is he camping here to watch a movie?" The girl thought bitterly. It wasn't the first time she had seen someone who didn't flush the toilet after going to the toilet, but it was the first time she had seen someone who flushed so much in the toilet once. Today was an eye-opener, but at this moment, she suddenly realized something. Wait, how did he manage to produce so much garbage in just a few hours? In the cultivation room, you're not allowed to bring anything except cold weapons. Even water is not allowed. Trash is only generated during the training process. Could it be that? The girl quickly shook her head again. Impossible. If you want to produce so much debris, unless his training progress reaches a very high level. When the girl thought of this, she suddenly froze. She accidentally jumped to the control screen on the wall next to her. Quickly tap the screen with your index finger flying. Soon, the results belonging to the previous trainer were recalled by her. Training progress in cold weapon training room number 8. Name, Lu Sheng. Grade, freshman first year. Training level, 5th stage. Training progress, 100% completed. Completed all the training progress of the 5th stage of cold weapon training. This line of words jumped in front of the girl's eyes, and the girl's brain suddenly trembled. It was as if there was an electric current that quickly traveled through her whole body. Feel the scalp numb. Goosebumps popped out all over his body. This is impossible. All 9 holy martial universities, all candidates throughout the years. The highest level ever reached is only the 3rd stage. Reaching the 3rd stage is already an accomplishment that delves into a realm accessible only with a profound understanding. Stage 5. Wouldn't that be mastery or even beyond mastery? The girl thought further and further away, and suddenly came back to her senses. No, this can't be right. Am I being foolish? That guy doesn't seem older than me. Does he have any connection with a master or grandmaster? I'll take another look. The girl subconsciously tapped the display screen in front of her twice, but he didn't want to use too much force, and the 2 punches directly smashed the display screen. Beep beep. The display flickered for a moment, made a harsh sound, and then clicked completely black. Is it broken? This time the girl was completely dumbfounded, turning to look at the practice room floor that has been thoroughly cleaned. Was that just daydreaming a moment ago? When Lu Sheng returned to his residence, the first thing he did was to take out a tube of golden dragon saliva from the refrigerator and drink it down. Feeling the medicinal effect of golden dragon saliva volatilized in the body, the scalding heat rushes around, and the physical strength consumed in the cold weapon training room also quickly recovers. So he began to practice the 2nd stage of the immortal golden body in the stellar body refining technique. When the effect of the whole tube of golden dragon saliva was completely absorbed, Lu Sheng opened his eyes, and there was a hint of coolness in his eyes. The excavation and tempering of the pinnacle of skills allowed him to control his own physical strength to a whole new level, and he did not expect that the cultivation of the star body training technique would also be improved as a result. Truly astonishing. The training effect for the 2nd stage of the immortal golden body this time is twice as effective as usual. I can clearly perceive many subtle aspects within my body that were not tempered before are now being refined. In this round of training, they are also being stirred, awakened, and getting involved one after another. At this rate, the completion of the 2nd stage of the immortal golden body is estimated to be shortened by a full half of the time I anticipated. Perhaps before formally advancing to the Grandmaster level, it can be fully completed. In the days that follow, it's very simple and regular. Every morning, Lu Sheng practices the stellar body refinement technique, specifically the visualization method of the Great Solar Observation. and then go to class, mainly studying the subject of exotic beasts. After lunch, he checks the Q progress at the Marshall Saint Tower. Then he heads straight to the cold weapons training room. Once again, he goes through the 5th stage training from beginning to end. In the evening, he practices the stellar body refinement technique, natural breathing method, and crystal visualization method after returning. When tired from training, he enters the dream space for battle. Lu Sheng, who doesn't need to take the cold weapon class, has much more free time than ordinary freshmen, and his strength is also advancing by leaps and bounds in such a regular and fulfilling life, changing day by day. The 5-stage training of cold weapon training has been completed. 1 week's time. His blood and energy values have increased by more than 3 times in these past few days. Lu Sheng was very happy to see his hard work for so many days, and after seeing the change in himself, he started thinking in his mind, with just a casual strike, I can achieve a combat power effect of more than 5 times what it was before. In the details lies true understanding, if not for the inspiration from the cold weapons training room. I didn't even know there were so many flaws, gaps, and deficiencies in the foundation of my martial arts. Although these small details may seem insignificant, they become more apparent as one progresses to the later stages. If I wait until I reach level 7, level 8, by then, if I want to come back and make up for it, it won't be possible. Lu Sheng didn't seem to have changed anything, but he seemed to be a completely different person. Only Lu Sheng knows best how much he has improved in this short period of less than a week. His blood value has more than tripled. The combat power has also soared wildly, and now with a single punch, it can hit more than 5 times the previous combat power. Even some skyrocketed. So friends, have you ever thought that you also have to subscribe to the channel? If you haven't thought, then quickly go and subscribe to this channel. And also like the video. After training, Lu Sheng does not stay here, he starts going out of the training room. After Lu Sheng left, a figure quickly walked out from the side door, and she goes to the place where Lu Sheng was training. Soon, several men and women bent over and ran in quickly. A group of people went straight to practice room number 8. Entering the door, looking at the messy practice room floor, the girl immediately shouted, "Did I lie or not? You can see for yourselves." The old students who had just entered the door were obviously shocked by the garbage all over the floor, as well as the eye-catching vacuum circle in the center of the room. My goodness, is it really the 5th stage? The girl walked quickly to the screen, stretched out her hand to operate a few times, and called up a line of results. The girl pointed to the screen with a serious face. A few people came over, saw the words on the display screen clearly, and suddenly took a breath. Shock and horror were written all over their faces. This is unbelievably heaven-defying. 5th stage training. There are still 5 stages in cold weapons training. One of the students says in surprise while picking popcorn and feathers from the garbage. Popcorn? Feathers? How can he hit accurate shots on this thing? Good, quickly take a picture and upload it to the campus network. This will definitely cause a sensation of level 15. The girl said with an attitude of someone who has experienced it. It's no use. I've already posted it. Everyone says it's photoshopped. If I argue a few more times, I'll be banned. I said it earlier, Lu Sheng has already completed the 5th stage of the cold weapons training room, and you still don't believe it. And not just once, but he clears it every day. A boy sighed in a trance. Lu Sheng's strength. Could he have surpassed Chen Yixuan, the current 1st place on the senior ranking list? The girl shook her head and said, "Haha, you guys completely don't understand what the 5th stage signifies. His proficiency in cold weapons may have already reached the mastery level. Challenging opponents beyond one's level under the Grandmaster is as easy as eating and drinking. He might be able to bear the title undefeatable at the same level. Don't mention the top 10 on the senior ranking list. Even among the top 10 on the 7 Saints list, I'm afraid they might not be his match either." Everyone was surprised to hear the words of the girl with the knife. Everyone was very confused and was hitting their hair in confusion. Oh my god, so what do we do now? Came all this way for nothing. What's the point even if we know? Shit. The feeling of discovering a earth-shattering secret but being unable to reveal it is truly frustrating, isn't it? The girl with the knife on her back thought for a while and said, "Let's pretend we don't know anything for now." Given Lu Sheng's consistent style of doing things, he probably won't hide his true strength for too long. I have a feeling that he's holding on to a big secret. Ding dong. On the way back to the dormitory, Lu Sheng suddenly received a text message. He took out his phone and looked at it, with a happy expression on his face. "Your eligibility to enter the Martial Saint has been queued. Please be sure to come within 10 minutes. Otherwise, the ranking number will be postponed." After waiting for a whole week, it finally arrived. 10 minutes is enough for me to go back. take a shower and change clothes, and then go. Just then, the phone rang again. This time it's a phone call. Lu Sheng picked it up. Student Lu Sheng, your double A-level task approval has been granted. Due to the urgency of the task, please proceed to the task center immediately. Lu Sheng was in a big dilemma as to what was happening. What's the deal? Either don't come or come together. After a little weighing, Lu Sheng made a decision. There's no way around it. The Martial Saint Tower has special privileges for students from Holy Martial Arts Academy. It's possible to secure a spot within a week. The double A-level credit tasks are not available every day. Even with a different approval process, there's no guarantee it will be approved. Let's choose the task this time. I'll go to the task center. 7 Holy Martial Arts Academies. Each has its own Martial Saint Tower. Students from each Holy Martial Arts Academy use their own school's Martial Saint Tower. They can enjoy various privileges. This is the privilege of Holy Martial Arts Academy and also a source of pride. However, students from other Holy Martial Arts Academies can also challenge the Martial Saint Towers of other schools, as long as the challenger breaking through the record of the highest floor in the tower. The party that fails to defend the tower will lose the right to use the Martial Saint Tower for 1 year. Meanwhile, something strange is about to happen at Martial Saint Tower. There is a guy who has come to challenge Martial Saint Tower. The receptionist checks his application and gets very scared after seeing his name in the application. The 4th Holy Martial Arts Academy, Myo Rengxing. This is 4th Holy Martial Arts Academy's Myo Rengxing. He has a tattoo on one eye and he gives his dirty smile and says after seeing the receptionist, "Ah, yes, I'm Myo Rengxing, ranked 6th on the 7 Saint list. I'm here to challenge the tower. So friends, what do you think about this guy? Can this guy create trouble for our MC?" At the beginning of the chapter, we see a riverside restaurant where our Lu Sheng is sitting and eating a burger. Lu Sheng believes that a good meal is necessary before going on a mission. Lu Sheng looks at the envelope while eating his meal, in which all the information about this mission was written in clear words. The envelope contains relevant information for this mission. After reviewing it, remember to destroy it. Lastly, always ensure a safe return. Missions may fail, but life is precious. Wishing you success. It's a group of criminal forces, a group of ruthless bandits who have committed multiple serious crimes, with a total accumulated criminal amount reaching up to 2 billion. They bear the responsibility for over 50 lives, including more than 30 police officers. It is a group of extremely wicked and ruthless individuals. A reward of 10 million in cash and 10 credits for capturing or killing a violent bandit, with the leader Magayan offering a tenfold bonus. If you complete several tasks like this consecutively, you can quickly accumulate enough credits. Lu Sheng glanced over it. Picking up the 3rd piece of paper, Lu Sheng's eyes paused. Surprisingly, there are still teammates. Alright then. Zhu Menjiao, 3rd year student at St. Martial University, level 6 martial artist. Proficient in cold weapons, dual blades. Task completion rate, 67%. Meng Jianfei, 3rd year student at St. Martial University, level 6 martial artist. Proficient in cold weapons, long spear. Task completion rate, 70%. He let out a breath, and there was no expression on his face. Both are senior students of the 3rd Shangwu University, so they probably know each other. Lu Sheng looked at the information on the piece of paper lightly and wrote down the looks of the two of them. Then stretch out your index finger and lightly rest on the piece of paper. From his fingertips, fine flames shot out, quickly igniting the paper. In the blink of an eye, the piece of paper was burned into a ball of ashes, which was waved away by Lu Sheng. I hope they don't hold me back in this mission. Shimao Street along the river, a deserted alleyway, where we see Zhu Menjiao in light makeup with white shorts on the upper body and hot pants on the lower body. She didn't know how many times she took out her phone to check, and urged impatiently, "When is that guy coming? Oh, come on." No sense of time. Beside, the thin young man with Zhu Menjiao took a deep breath of the cigarette in his hand, then threw it on the ground and stomped it out. Under the young man's hand, cigarette butts of different lengths were densely scattered everywhere. "Could you please smoke a bit less? Can't you see I'm being choked?" Zhu Menjiao stretched out her hand in disgust and waved it back and forth twice in front of her face. The young man looked helpless. "Haha, I waited too long, I was so bored." The lung capacity of a level 6 martial artist, 1 cigarette per breath. No wonder so many people smoke cigars. I didn't understand it before, but now I understand it. Zhu Menjiao was too lazy to talk nonsense with him, and she said indifferently, "If he doesn't come soon, let's just go ourselves. He won't be of much help anyway." The young man looked a bit hesitant. "It's not good, after all. He's our teammate. He came a long way. We can't let him make the trip for nothing." "Teammate, I think he's a burden." Zhu Menjiao sneered. "Haven't you read the information? He is just a freshman. Task completion rate 0%. Obviously it's his first time on a mission. These fledglings who haven't even seen blood. I really can't understand what the people at the 7th Holy Martial University are thinking. He actually managed to pass his mission application. Is he intentionally sent here to harm us? The young man pondered and said, at least he's a level 6, and I've heard his name before. Lu Sheng, this year's top. Lu Sheng. This year's college entrance examination is the #1 scholar in Longwu. At this age, having such strength. His talent is quite terrifying. The irony on Zhu Menjiao's pretty face became stronger, and she said, no wonder, so he came here to gain some experience. People from the 7th Holy Martial University are really interesting. They want to mix the tasks with the school's geniuses. Why not use their own people rather than passing the burden to us? I don't have time to take care of a kid. This mission is a matter of life and death. Let's go. After finishing speaking, Zhu Menjiao stopped talking nonsense. Meng Jianfei tries to stop him, then he hears someone coming. He doesn't hear anyone else coming, but it was Lu Sheng. As soon as he reaches there, Lu Sheng says good evening seriously with his serious face. Zhu Menjiao looked at each other, twitched the corners of her mouth, did not speak, but gave the young man next to her a look, and the two walked towards the street. Lu Sheng didn't say anything, and followed behind the two of them. After leaving the alley, Zhu Menjiao and Meng Jianfei got into a white car parked by the side of the road. Lu Sheng sat in the back row and put the weapon bag on the seat on his right. Zhu Menjiao started the car, and Meng Jianfei was in the co-pilot. Zhu Menjiao asked Lu Sheng while driving, is your weapon ready? Lu Sheng answers yes, then Zhu Menjiao continues her talk. Now the three of us can be considered temporary partners. The plan is roughly like this. According to reliable information, the suspect Ma Guian is hiding there. He himself is a peak level 6 martial artist. The situation of his subordinates is currently unclear. Our main goal today is to figure out their strength. If possible, today would be their Memorial Day. Zhu Menjiao drove the car faster and faster, reaching a speed of over 180, and the seats in the car shook slightly. Finally, the car stopped in a desolate field. We arrived. Zhu Menjiao looks at Lu Sheng again and says, I solemnly tell you, this is a genuine anti-bandit mission. It's not the kind of pretend games you've participated in before. It's a matter of life and death. Now is still not too late to regret. I'll wait and see what tricks you play later. Don't blame me if I don't go easy on you. After listening to her, Lu Sheng says, I have understood. Then Zhu Menjiao says, I hope you must have understood. Man, I am not able to understand. This Zhu Menjiao has taken our MC lightly. Anyway, no one will be able to say anything after seeing his power. The three got out of the car, and Zhu Menjiao left the car without saying a word and walked in one direction. Zhu Menjiao and Lu Sheng followed behind. The three of them are all 6th level fighters, and their steps are fast. Not long after, the outline of an abandoned factory appeared, and there seemed to be a few cars parked outside, and some people were standing on the building. Zhu Menjiao's footsteps finally stopped. They all stop at one place and first get information about the entire area. After reaching here, there was tension on the faces of Zhu Menjiao and Meng Jianfei, while Lu Sheng was standing absolutely normal. Zhu Menjiao and Meng Jianfei look at the situation and talk to each other and say, they're too far away for us to assess their strength. We'll have to get closer then. After Zhu Menjiao finished speaking, she glanced at Lu Sheng and said seriously, Lu Sheng, can you hear me? Lu Sheng didn't speak, and he didn't even look at Zhu Menjiao. He was spreading his mental strength and looking into the abandoned factory. Several fiery figures appeared in his perception. There are still more than 10 people in the building. I need to investigate more carefully. Seeing that Lu Sheng didn't reply, Zhu Menjiao's eyes turned a little cold, and her tone increased. Lu Sheng, what are you daydreaming about? Lu Sheng finally turned his head. He looked at Zhu Menjiao and frowned slightly. This small movement fell into Zhu Menjiao's eyes. For some reason, her heart beat faster suddenly, and she felt an inexplicable flustered feeling. But Lu Sheng's beautiful eyebrows quickly stretched out again, and he nodded lightly, you guys go ahead. I should have come alone for the mission. It's really troublesome. Never mind, waiting for a while won't make a difference. Seeing Lu Sheng speak, Zhu Menjiao's face softened a little. The flustered feeling also disappeared without a trace, as if it had never appeared before. What's going on? I just had a panic attack. Could it be that the nerves are overly tense because it's the first time accepting a double A rank mission and bringing along a new member? Zhu Menjiao shook her head and quickly put this emotion behind her. Looking at each other with Meng Jianfei, the two moved forward in a tacit understanding. Both of them have the strength of 6th level warriors, plus they were born in Shengwu University, and their solid experience far surpasses that of Tongji. A few lookouts didn't notice their approach at all, and they were still chatting and smoking. Zhu Menjiao and the two lightly jumped up the outer wall of the abandoned factory, leaned on the edge of a broken window, and looked in through the opening of the window. Meng Jianfei starts sweating as soon as he sees the scene inside, while Zhu Menjiao asks him what is the matter, what happened. Meng Jianfei panics and says out of fear, "There are many martial artists inside the house. Inside the factory, the lights are bright." A dozen or so people sat in a circle, feeling the undisguised chi and blood fluctuations emanating from those people below, and the pupils of both of them constricted severely. 6th grade. A lot of 6th level warriors. What the heck, Ma Goyan? What do you mean? With so many people working with you, why do you alone get to monopolize 30%? Just because you're at the peak of level 6? Or is it because of those few reckless underlings of yours? A muscular man wearing a camouflage vest slammed the table and yelled at a person. The person being yelled at was a middle-aged man with short hair who looked in his 40s. This man is strong, sitting like a fierce tiger, but his eyes are triangular in shape, revealing traces of cold light from time to time, like a poisonous snake. Facing the brawny man's questioning, the middle-aged man didn't get angry, but said lightly, "I did the early stage work, and the plan, as well as the guy, were also my contributions. You guys just kill a few people, that's all. Do you think I should or shouldn't ask for 30%? It was none other than Ma Goyan for whom our team has come here. 30% is too much. At most, 20%. The rest belongs to us, or else we'll break the deal right now." "That's right. You're nothing without our contribution. Don't be too greedy in life." Seeing people in the factory discussing more and more intensely, both Zhu Menjiao and Meng Jianfei did not dare to go inside. Zhu Menjiao was trembling a lot after listening to them words and tremblingly said to Meng Jianfei, "There are at least 8 level 6 individuals here, along with a bunch of level 4 and S. With our current strength, it's simply impossible to take them down." Then Meng Jianfei also says, "This is probably already at S level. We need to go back and report it immediately." Now what happened? She came as if she would do something. But both of them are scared after seeing so many people. Now let's see what our MC will do. And friends, don't forget to subscribe the channel and like the video. And yes, thanks for liking and commenting on the video. Seeing the people in the factory discuss more and more intensely, Zhu Menjiao and the Meng Jianfei retreated quietly. But the entire area was surrounded by gangsters. There was one of them standing at every corner. Even if these two were caught by mistake, they would be killed because powerful people were present here too. Zhu Menjiao and Meng Jianfei were moving forward very carefully and secretly, but some gangsters were talking among themselves and said, "The boss gave them a chance to join, but all of them want to act like a big shot now. Why don't we just kill them?" Hearing his words, a bald guy says while tossing the bomb in his hands, "Haha, relax. They won't be a problem in a few days. With the hijacking of the vehicles transporting the strategic material, the boss will be able to become a master. When the time comes, they will have to give back whatever they have taken." Zhu Menjiao and Meng Jianfei listened to their conversation blankly. On hearing this, Zhu Menjiao and Meng Jianfei get very upset, and now they think of getting out of here as soon as possible. Then both of them changed direction and went to a place several hundred meters away from the abandoned factory. They're crazy. Their target turned out to be the strategic materials transport vehicle. Meng Jianfei says this while running away. Zhu Menjiao couldn't help but speak. Meng Jianfei also had a solemn expression. "And they have gathered so many people. No wonder Ma Goyan was so unscrupulous and not afraid to be discovered. 8 people of level 6, and the weapons in their hands that is enough to capture the whole of Yan City." Zhu Menjiao's face was ugly, and she said slowly, "The master of these gangsters. It's unimaginable. This is out of control. We need to go back quickly." Zhu Menjiao nodded, and the two of them pounded their feet and were about to leave quickly. But not long after they walked out, they suddenly stopped and looked at each other. "Hold." The young man Meng Jianfei couldn't help cursing, patted himself on the forehead, and said with a wry smile, "We forgot to bring back the kid from the 7th St. Martial Arts University." Zhu Menjiao was also speechless. She also forgot. The main reason is that the information he just got was too shocking, and he subconsciously ignored Lu Sheng, who had no sense of existence at all. Taking care of him is such a burden. Let's turn back. I pray he was smart enough and hid somewhere safe. Otherwise, no one can save him. Zhu Menjiao shook her head, turned around with Meng Jianfei, and quickly turned back. Under the moonlight, Lu Sheng held a spear in one hand and walked towards the abandoned factory like a leisurely stroll. The moonlight sprinkled on his shoulders, casting a shallow silhouette on the ground. If you ignore the long spear in his hand, Lu Sheng looks no different from someone who comes out for a walk in the middle of the night. A few watchmen soon spotted Lu Sheng. Lu Sheng had already appeared in front of them. Some people laughingly see Lu Sheng there and say, "Where did this little guy come from?" The moment the word little guy came out of the opponent's mouth, Lu Sheng took a step forward. His expression is calm, his eyes are like deep water. One of the gangsters comes to Lu Sheng, "Where have you come from?" and before he can say anything further, his neck has been cut. There seemed to be a hole in his throat, and warm liquid splashed out from it, taking away a lot of energy and temperature in his body. The man clutched his neck and slowly fell backwards. As he fell, he saw his other two companions. Seeing one of their friends getting killed in front of them, they all get angry and they come together to attack Lu Sheng. But faster than the speed of lightning, all of them also get their necks cut off. Our MC has become quite powerful in these few days. In front of our MC, all of them were like mosquitoes. Killing them was a matter of left hand. 8 people at level 6, including 2 peak level 6 cultivators, several level 5 and 4. If I had known our missions were that easy, I wouldn't have bothered concealing myself. They also covered their necks with their hands, with shock and disbelief written all over their faces. A lot of bright red blood flowed out from between their fingers and flowed everywhere. "Boss, will come to help us." The man opened his mouth, trying to say something. A 43 size shoe sole had already stepped on it, and it broke his neck completely with a click, which made him unable to utter the last words before he died. "All of you are dead, it's full of trash here." Lu Sheng rubbed his feet on the weeds on the ground to wipe off most of the blood, and then retracted his feet in satisfaction. 3 corpses lay quietly in front of him. This is how killing someone feels like, Lu Sheng asked himself. Lu Sheng turned his head to look at the red crystal dragon pattern in his right hand. The spear tip of the red crystal dragon pattern is as clean as ever, without any blood stains. A strange feeling came from the bottom of Lu Sheng's heart. At this time, the desire to destroy that had been accumulated in Lu Sheng's heart disappeared a lot, and the lake in his heart became calmer. The desire for destruction that has always been accumulating in my heart has decreased drastically. Other than that, there are no other huge psychological changes. Is it because I hunted too many zombies in the dream space? Or maybe it's the effect of the lingering memory of all the bloody images. Or maybe it's because of the identity of the people I killed. They were all terribly vicious and evil people. I feel no burden on my conscience after killing them. I am just rooting out evil. Many sentences popped up in Lu Sheng's mind in an instant. Eliminate the strong and support the weak. Eradicate the villain and eliminate the evil. The great chivalrous man should serve the country and the people. Eliminate harm for the people. Practicing martial arts does not kill people. It is better to go home and sell sweet potatoes. Finally, he found a more appropriate and fashionable slogan. Justice may be late, but it always shows up. Lu Sheng held the spear in his right arm, and the crimson tip of the spear lit up a few spear flowers in the night, and then walked towards the inman of the abandoned factory. "So, please accept your justice sentence. Justice may be late, but never absent." 5 minutes ago, a woman with a scar face screams there. "Damn you, I'm handling things here, I want us to make a decision." Then the same muscular man that we had shown earlier says to the women in a funny manner, "Huh, you want to? Who do you think you are? If you really want to, I can give you something else." Hearing such things from him, the gangster woman gets angry and asks, "You want to die, right?" Even Ma Goyan had become angry after listening to such nonsense for a long time. "You guys." Then Ma Goyan sat on a steel chair, listening to the people in front of him arguing endlessly. His temples kept bulging, and the veins on his forehead twitched. Suddenly, he stood up abruptly, instantly disappeared on the chair. Waiting to appear, he had already appeared in front of a muscular man who was the loudest and most noisy, and he punched hard. The wind of the fist roared, and the gang kai exploded, tearing the air. After this punch, the muscular man lay down on the ground on his knees. He looked at Ma Goyan. He wanted to say something to him, but he did not have the courage to say anything. "Ma Goyan, shut up." The muscular man's expression changed abruptly, and he subconsciously raised his hand to block it. But he was still hit in the chest by Ma Goyan's punch. He was still in pain. The powerful aura belonging to the 6th level peak warrior was released from Ma Goyan, and a cold and fierce aura enveloped the audience. The scene suddenly quieted down, and everyone was quiet, their eyes fixed on the sturdy body in the field, and their expressions were slightly dignified. I said that the plan was my idea. I'm the one who came up with it, so I have the biggest share here. I told you how much you can take. If you don't agree with this, leave now. I won't stop you." Ma Goyan scanned the audience, his eyes as cold as poisonous snakes swept over each murderer. Someone's eyelids were raised fiercely, and a fierce gleam flashed in their eyes, but he didn't speak. The atmosphere on the court froze for a while, and then someone sat down. At this time, a dull and unpleasant sound, like rough sandpaper rubbing against each other, sounded in the field. Brother Ma is right. Everyone is here to ask for money. Why bother to fight for petty gains and hurt each other's friendship? Among the crowd, a middle-aged man wearing a red suit jacket with a brown shirt and a silver necklace came out with a smile. It's a pity that his smile was uglier than his crying, and under the flickering lights he looked like a ghost crawling out of hell. The man took a deep breath and then said to Ma Goyan with a smile, "I am speaking the truth, right? Brother Goyan." The ghost-faced vulture, that is a whole fleet of strategic materials vehicles. It's not a small profit. Someone said lightly. Then Ghost-Face laughs and says, "For level 6 cultivator, it is indeed not a small one. But for a Grand Master, it's nothing." As soon as the man said the words, the murderers in the field suddenly changed their expressions, as if they suddenly remembered something, and the eyes they looked at Ma Goyan also changed a little. What? He's going to become a master. Haha. It turns out that Brother Ma wanted us to steal the strategic material to become a master. If you had told us earlier, then we would have nothing to argue about. The lion's share is yours. Yes, Brother Ma can assign us to do whatever he wants. Even if there's no benefit, I, Zhu Laosin, will do it. It's rare for us to have a master among the gangsters. Brother Ma is amazing. In a short period of time, the gangsters on the field changed drastically, and each of them became more respectful. Ma Goyan narrowed his eyes to look at the ghost-faced man in front of him. He didn't speak, only the icy knife-like light kept flashing in his eyes. The ghost-faced man looked at him with a smile, took out a cigarette and handed it out. Haha, then I wish Brother Goyan success with your ascension. Ma Goyan stood up, walked up to the ghost-faced man, took the cigarette and put it in his mouth. The ghost-faced man snapped his fingers, the previous flame reappeared, and the cigarette was lit. Ma Goyan took a deep puff of the cigarette. The ghost-faced man approached his ear and said in a low voice, "But when you become a master, I want a share too. So, I also want 30%. Ma Goyan's smoking action paused for a moment and then returned to normal. "Fine," he responded blankly, and white smoke rose from his eyes. Ma Goyan's eyes were as calm as water, but the killing intent in his heart was rolling in waves. The ghost-faced vulture. He is the only one here who is qualified to challenge me in terms of strength. Not only is he a peak level 6 cultivation, he is also a rare warrior with an elemental talent. It is said that he was originally a martial arts master, but a fire killed his whole family. From then on, his personality changed drastically and he embarked on the gangster path. He likes to burn people alive with his fire. His cruelty is well known even among gangsters. Since everyone has no objections, I'll make a simple distribution. Don't worry, everyone. I, Ma Goyan, have always done things properly. I will never let everyone make this trip in vain." As Ma Goyan said, he was about to start talking about distribution and action plans. Just then, a voice sounded outside the factory. "There's movement. Who is it?" The sound came on and off quickly. It seemed so abrupt in the quiet field. All the people present were 6th level warriors with keen 5 senses, and they immediately looked towards the door in unison. Ma Goyan glanced at it lightly and said calmly, "I guess the police are here, no big deal. Just kill them. Let's continue somewhere else." As Ma Goyan said, they have people and guys. Even if all the policemen in Yan City come, there is no need to be afraid. They can kill them out. The murderer's expressions quickly relaxed. Ma Goyan gave the younger brother beside him a look. The younger brother nodded and walked towards the gate with a grim expression. "Haha, right, we have so many level 6 cultivators. Why would we be afraid of a few cops? I just happened to hold back a lot of angry. It's time to let it out." The perpetrators stopped talking about benefits now. It seems that they found something more interesting. One by one folded their arms, staring playfully in the direction of the gate. Someone moved his hands and feet, made a clicking sound in his neck, and seemed to be doing warm-up exercises with a casual expression. Ma Goyan's younger brother walked quickly to the gate. He was about to go to the door. Boom! With a loud bang, the entire gate of the factory broke free from the constraints of the frame and flew inward. The younger brother's pupils constricted, and he had no time to dodge. He was directly hit by the huge iron gate and flew away for an unknown distance. The murderers all stood up with a swipe, and the eyes of Ma Goyan and the ghost-faced vulture also became cold. Smoke billows from the abandoned factory. Everyone stared at the position of the gate. Soon, the dust dissipated, and they saw a handsome boy of 18 or 19 striding it. The young man has calm eyes and a casual posture. If he wasn't holding a 3-meter-long spear in his hand, he would almost think he was an ordinary person passing by or running to deliver food. The thugs who were gearing up were stunned for a moment, and even Ma Guan was a little surprised. They have envisioned many scenes, thousands of troops surrounded. But it never occurred to me that the person who walked in at the door turned out to be a youthful young man of 18 or 19 years old. A gangster scolded, "What the hell? It's just a little kid, and no one else. Don't be careless, maybe it's a bait deliberately put out to make us underestimate them." Ma Guan reminded lightly. Lu Sheng had now reached inside where all the gangsters wanted to kill him. Then he glanced at everyone present and said calmly, 2 minutes. Those who want to escape can start running now. In the huge field, there was silence for a few seconds. As soon as Lu Sheng entered the factory, he sees all the gangsters and gives them 2 minutes to run away. Otherwise no one will be saved. Till now Lu Sheng had killed all the gangsters outside. Now it was the turn of the remaining gangsters, which included their leader Ma Guan. And at this time Lu Sheng was surrounded by gangsters from all sides. Still there was no fear in his eyes. He was very calm and was looking at everyone one by one. Seeing Lu Sheng, all the gangsters were considering him as a child. Then the same lady gangster gets angry looking at Lu Sheng. A lady gangster scolded, "What the hell are you? A little brat who hasn't even reached adulthood. Is there nobody on the cop's side? Stay calm, big sister. It may be a bait deliberately released to make us take it lightly." Ma Guan reminded lightly, "No matter how you look at it, he's just a kid." The gangster lady let out a grin and strode towards the Lu Sheng. His strides were enormous and his speed was astonishing. In just a blink of an eye, she arrived in front of the young man, and she attacked this young man with a sword to finish him off. That scene reminds people of the market stall owner proceeding to kill the chicks in the cage. All the murderers are watching, but most of the attention is not on this, but staring at the surroundings, always on guard against other enemies rushing in from other places. Suddenly, a strange sound sounded. When the murderers raised their eyes, their pupils shrank instantly. I saw that the gangster who had just rushed up had a beautiful light red spear tip emerging from the back of his head, and his head was separated from his torso. The head had fallen somewhere else. The body had fallen somewhere else. And this attack happened faster than lightning. Lu Sheng casually pulled the spear out of the gangster's head, shaking off the blood stained on the spearhead. In the huge field, there was silence for a few seconds. All the murderers were stunned. It seemed that he couldn't believe what he saw in front of his eyes. Their eyes fell on the gangster who was lying on the ground, and blood was gurgling from the other side's door. Just a few minutes ago, this lady was still arguing loudly with them about the distribution of benefits. Now, she has turned into a cold corpse, and even his brains are bleeding all over the place. Those who can be called together by Ma Guan know more or less about each other's details. A level 6 warrior, unexpectedly, killed in the blink of an eye by this kid. The murderers were stunned. Level 6 warriors are so powerful that their muscles, bones, skin, and flesh are as hard as steel plates, and they can't even be pierced by bullets. In the end, it was as brittle as a piece of paper in the young man's hands. How could they accept it? This kid is not normal, there must be something fishy. Ma Guan stared at the red crystal dragon pattern in Lu Sheng's hand, and said coldly, "He is not an easy opponent, so don't confront him head-on. The weapon in this kid's hand is probably a master-level weapon. Let's go at him together with more people." Master-level weapon. So that's it. The faces of the thugs froze. This kind of good stuff, if sold casually, could be worth several billion. Soon, several people looked at each other and quickly walked around the Lu Sheng from various positions. "Kid, do you think you can act high and mighty just because you have a good weapon? Let me show you what a psycho killer is like." As he walked, he drew his cold weapon from his waist and back. And Killer with a long scar on his face smiled evilly, and a huge white aura burst from his body, and he viciously attacked Lu Sheng. Others, not to be outdone, followed closely behind. Lu Sheng stood on the spot with a calm expression on his face, with a casual attitude. Sandao's mighty body filled with white Kai rushed close to him, and the sharpness and murderous aura of the cold weapon came towards him like a tide. Lu Sheng shot. The red crystal dragon pattern is like a spirit snake rising up. The red tip of the spear flickered in the air very quickly. Lu Sheng walked slowly towards the other gang member. The moment they passed each other, the three murderers with a deep hole between their eyebrows crashed to the ground, and the cold weapons in their hands fell to the ground with a crisp sound. Their faces still had the ferocity and hostility of their lives, and they didn't even know how death came. The pupils of the remaining people contracted fiercely, and their bodies and minds were quickly swept away by a great horror and horror. Monster. This kid is a monster. A level 6 warrior was killed in seconds. Unbelievable. A murderer cried out, and the way he looked at Lu Sheng had completely changed. Such thieves and bandits who have been licking blood all the year round have never seen such a big storm. But such a strange experience is really unprecedented. a college student who is only 18 or 19 years old. Killing level 6 is like killing a chicken, destroying everything. It's just unbelievable, right? After killing them, Lu Sheng says to all the other gangsters, "Won't you all join the fight? Come on, no one. If you don't come, then I will come." Lu Sheng stopped talking nonsense with a few people and took the initiative. Switch, breath of the wind. Lu Sheng's figure melted into the wind and disappeared together with the red crystal dragon pattern. After the mastery of physical power reached a new level, Lu Sheng's strength underwent a qualitative change. Even he himself doesn't know how strong he is now. He didn't even need to use his stellar energy, relying on his abnormal control over his physical strength and the sharpness of the red crystal dragon pattern. Dealing with these bandits who are generally level 6 is like cutting melons and vegetables, one shot at a time, saving even the second shot. In the eyes of others, Lu Sheng seems to be able to teleport, disappear, appear. One shot stabbed a gangster to death and then disappeared, reappeared. Another bandit fell down. Within a few breaths, the number of criminals on the field dropped sharply, dying one by one. The appearance of death is similar with minor differences. All of them have a hole the size of a baby's fist in the forehead. That's from the spear. Grandmaster. This kid is a half-step Grandmaster. A middle-aged man, ugly ghost face, screamed strangely and ran towards the door. Lu Sheng saw him running away. Lu Sheng did not want to let anyone escape from here. He wanted to destroy everyone, so he comes after him. Lu Sheng appeared behind him in a flash, about to raise his spear. Suddenly, Ghostface turned around abruptly. His ugly face twisted together like a ghost. There was no panic and fear, only hysterical madness and ferocity. A bone-piercing sharp edge, wrapped in a red heat wave, erupted from the hands of the ghost-faced vulture, who's trying to run. Heta, go to hell with your Grandmaster status. Just die for me. Flames rose all over Ghostface Vulture's body, mixed with strong stellar energy, and almost all the strength of his body was pressed on his arms. The flames are monstrous. Ghostface starts laughing loudly after seeing Lu Sheng burning. Ha ha ha, nothing left, not even residue. Then he hears a voice from the flame asking, "Is what you call fire?" Ghostface gets very scared after hearing the sound of a person burning in the fire. He does not understand what is happening. Looking down, the whole person froze for an instant. I saw a palm firmly grasping his hidden red blade. The palm is white and slender, with brilliant golden aura flowing between the 5 fingers, like flowing gold. Lu Sheng looked at him and spoke calmly, as if stating a fact. That is what real fire looks like. The next moment, a surging heat wave far surpassing that of a ghost-faced vulture burst out from Lu Sheng's finger. For a moment, the ghost-faced vulture felt as if he was standing on the edge of the crater. The volcano erupted, and hot magma melted head-on. He only felt a sudden redness in front of his eyes, burning pain all over his body. And before he could scream much, he got completely burnt. Lu Sheng's small blue flame had completely burnt Ghostface. There was a lot of tension on Ma Goyan's face after seeing all his men getting eliminated and seeing Ghostface also getting eliminated. Ma Goyan considered Ghostface as powerful as himself. He considered him as his competitor, but he also got destroyed in one stroke. Lu Sheng let go of his hand, and the blazing flames that devoured the ghost-faced vulture retracted into his palm like flowing water. In the empty state, Lu Sheng's element control ability is close to level 4. The flame temperature awakened by the breath of flame is not comparable to that of a mere ghost-faced vulture. Lu Sheng turned around, looked at Ma Goyan, who had been sluggish for a long time, and asked casually, "A level 6 warrior's muscles and bones are like steel. The boiling point of steel is 2750 degrees. It seems like my flames are a bit stronger than his. Have you thought about how you want to die?" Lu Sheng's tone was casual and casual, like the daily greetings and greetings between acquaintances. But when it fell into Ma Goyan's ears, it sounded like countless thunderclaps. Ma Goyan's face was pale and bloodless. He blankly swept across the audience, looking at the cold and stiff corpses on the ground. This tiger-like, snake-like robber, bandit, murderer. Finally, unable to stop the turbulent fear in his heart, he trembled violently. Ma Goyan was so scared that he didn't even have the courage to speak. During this time, Meng Jianfei and Zhu Menjiao had also come to the factory. They had come here to save Lu Sheng. They hide and look inside the factory. They should be comfortable so that no one can trace us. Meng Jianfei glanced in the direction of the abandoned factory, and the few thieves who were standing at the gate of the factory before were gone. He smelled the scent of blood carried in the night wind. The two walked through the grass and walked to the gravel outside the factory. They saw 3 people lying on the ground. "What's going on here?" Meng Jianfei quickly inspected the corpse. His eyes showed a bit of surprise. "All are one-hit kills. That kid has some impressive strength." Zhu Menjiao's expression was not optimistic at all. Just a few small fries, it would be the same no matter who comes. Yet Zhu Menjiao wonders if it could be that the kid actually killed all the gangsters. The two slowly approached the factory, and the night wind blew the grass and trees in the distance, sending rustling sounds. Under the moonlight, everything looks quiet and beautiful. Zhu Menjiao and Meng Jianfei frowned, their faces full of suspicion. When they came before, the factory was as noisy as a vegetable market. Now there is no sound at all. The two took a deep breath and walked towards the gate of the factory step by step. His heart beat faster, and his expression became dignified and serious little by little. Zhu Menjiao glanced at Meng Jianfei. Both of them could see the pressure and tension in each other's eyes. But in the next second, the footsteps of both of them stopped, and they froze in place, staring blankly at the scene in front of him. His expression was bewildered, and he couldn't react for a while. It's like entering the wrong house. I see, in the factory, corpses were lying here and there on the ground, and the blood merged into a stream on the dusty ground, solidifying dark red traces. The fierce bandit Ma Goyan knelt on the ground with a pale face, in front of a tall and straight figure, shaking like chaff. And suddenly he gets attacked. It was Lu Sheng who attacked him. He destroyed everyone in one stroke. Seeing this, Zhu Menjiao is surprised and screams being easily dealt with by this kid. When Lu Sheng saw them, there was no surprise on his face, and he just said something calmly. You guys are here. The mission is completed. I'll leave the finishing touches to you guys. I'm heading back first. As Lu Sheng leaves, both of them sit on the ground in surprise. They could not understand that a kid had done all this work. Zhu Menjiao says in surprise, he single-handedly killed all these many criminals. Then after listening to her, Meng Jianfei says, ha ha ha, this martial arts champion is really extraordinary. This time, the 7th Holy Martial Academy has recruited an incredible monster. After finishing his work, Lu Sheng goes straight and sits in the car because he has finished the mission, so he will go towards his home. Just then Lu Sheng's phone ringtone vibrate, which Lu Sheng looks at and sees the message. It was Lin Zi's message, in which it was clearly written, Brother Sheng, it's an urgent matter. Where are you? Someone is attacking the 7th Holy Martial Academy's tower. As soon as Lu Sheng reads the message, he says attack on the tower. He was also wondering who attacked the tower. After completing his mission, Lu Sheng quickly reaches the 7th Holy Martial Academy. The taxi driver tells him that we have reached the 7th Holy Martial Academy. Take care, young man. Lu Sheng thanks him for this. Lu Sheng was very happy to complete this mission, because as he was told that unless you do real and bloody fights, you will not get experience. But he got a lot of good experience in last night's fight. Feeling the experience of the last night, Lu Sheng thinks, the harvest from this mission was great. A few thugs who were full of energy, willpower and vigor. It was perfect for the testing of the dragon spear. I seem to be able to hear the breathing of the red crystal dragon. The soul nourishing of the red crystal dragon spear has begun. Lu Sheng can now even hear the sound of the spear's breathing, because now he has reached a stage which is at the level of Grandmaster. Lu Sheng had a smile on his face thinking about this experience. Then Lin Zi comes to him and says, Brother, you have come. Lin Zi was very happy to see Lu Sheng. He asks him about his mission. Brother Sheng, you're finally back. How was it? Was the mission difficult or exciting? Hearing Lin Zi's words, Lu Sheng smiles and says that fortunately it was not that difficult. Just had to kill some gangsters there. Lin Zi gets very nervous after hearing about killing, and he says in excitement, Kill? Have you killed anyone, Brother Sheng? Then Lu Sheng gets a little nervous and thinks, oh right, although Lin Zi's strength isn't weak and he is a genius, he is still just a teenage boy. Killing someone is notably cruel in his eyes. Then our MC says that those people were very bad. Lu Sheng felt that he had wrongly told Lin Zi that he had killed someone because Lin Zi had just become a teenager, so this could be quite cruel in his eyes. But it did not happen as Lu Sheng had thought. Rather, Lin Zi comes in front of his face and asks in excitement, Damn it, Brother Sheng, you have really killed someone. How was that feeling? Right, next time I will accept the wanted criminal mission as well. I will enjoy killing a few. We are cultivators. We must do our best to eliminate evil and uphold justice. I've been thinking about the messenger of justice for some time now. Lin Zi was excitedly asking questions one by one to Lu Sheng. After listening to him, Lu Sheng wonders whether this boy has violent genes in his genes. Then suddenly some students of the academy start running to see the results. There was panic among all of them. Someone had a look of despair on his face, and someone was asking someone what happened. Hey, I heard that Xiao Lan failed to guard the tower. Oh my god, this time the tower will really be left defenseless. Let's hurry over and look. Seeing them all running, Lu Sheng asks Lin Zi, what's happening with the tower? Why are all these people running towards the tower? At this time there was some tension on Lin Zi's face too. He said to Lu Sheng in tension, "Oh, big things have been happening while you were away, Brother Sheng." Myo Rengsheng, who is ranked 6th in the 7 Saints list and represents the 4th St. Martial University, came to break into the tower. Lu Sheng asks what is this 7 Saints list, then Lin Zi tells him and says, it's the upgraded version of the old ranking list. The old ranking list includes all old students who have not graduated yet, from sophomore to senior. It can be regarded as the top strength ranking list in our university. Ranked 1st and 2nd are Chen Yixuan and Xiao Lan. As the name suggests, the 7 Saints list includes students from the 7 St. Martial Universities. As a list formed after screening, it's the most accurate list, and the people who are on it are like dragons and phoenixes among humans, the true geniuses of the young generation. Lu Sheng and Lin Zi had come a long way while talking. Still, Lin Zi's talk was continuous, in which he was giving all the information about the list to Lu Sheng one by one. But the strength of our university is not that good. There's not even one of us in the top 10 of the 7 Saints list. Chen Yixuan, who is ranked 1st on the old ranking list, is only ranked 13th in the 7 Saints list. I guess we won't be able to defend the tower anymore. The 7th St. Martial University has become a laughing stock. For the next year, we won't even have the right to enter the tower. Just like students from other universities and other cultivators, we will have to apply first and then wait in line for half a year. As soon as Lin Zi told that if we lose, we will have to wait for 1 year to go to the tower, Lu Sheng's feet stop there as soon as he hears this, and he makes a strange face and asks, what did you say? We will have to wait in line for 1 year? What a joke. I will guard the tower. And after saying this, Lu Sheng quickly leaves from there towards the tower. As soon as Lu Sheng leaves from there is a little confusion on Lin Zi's face. But as soon as he listens to Lu Sheng, a smile appears on his face that he will protect the tower. This is a big deal. Lin Zi almost jumped up on the spot. Our MC cannot depend on those ranking list people. If those people lose, then our MC will not be able to go to the tower, so he put all the work on his shoulders. And on the other side there were several students standing in front of 7th St. Martial Tower. There was some tension on the faces of all of them, and they were all talking to each other. Damn it, are we really going to be stepped on by the 4th St. Martial University? What a shame. Do we really have to compete with students from other universities for positions in the future? I don't want to this. Then they all see someone coming out, and as soon as they see the person in front of them, he was none other than Chen Yixuan. Seeing him, everyone said that he had failed. There was sadness on everyone's face. Everyone was in tension. Everyone had lost their hope. It's over. Even Chen Yixuan, who is number 1 on the old ranking list, is out. Who else can compete with Myo Rengsheng? With Myo Rengsheng winning this floor and beating Chen Yixuan's record, we will fail to guard the tower. All the students were looking at the screen where Myo Rengsheng was still ongoing. Chen Yixuan was also very angry after seeing this screen because he could not guard the tower. And he looks at the screen in this anger and thinks, damn it, as a student of the 7th St. Martial University, I should be the most familiar with the tower, with it at my doorstep for 4 years now. But still, I'm not as good as him who is an outsider. Is the gap in strength that huge? Chen Yixuan was very angry about this because an outsider came and defeated him in his own training ground, which was a very bad thing for him. Thinking about that, he became very angry with himself. There was sadness on the faces of all these people because they all knew what would happen if they lost. Once the tower breaks successfully, the party that fails to defend the tower will give up the right to use 7th St. Martial Tower for 1 year. This kind of healthy competition was encouraged by the leaders of the 7 holy martial arts colleges, and there were such rules when the Martial Holy Tower was first established. Just then some thugs from 4th St. University reach there, who teases all these students and says that 7th St. Martial University has faced defeat this time. How arrogant these people were before. But when these people meet a powerful man, they are unable to do anything. These two were teasing everyone by talking to each other. You are right, then one of them says, who pushed me? Then suddenly a psychic energy takes both of them away. Immediately, the crowd in front of him separated to both sides like a tide. Everyone was surprised to see what it was. A psychic energy, and the entire space in between becomes empty, as if someone was about to come here and use that psychic energy. And the person using this psychic energy was none other than our MC, who had cleared the entire area in between and was ready to enter the tower. His face was absolutely serious, and a purple glow was visible around its edges. Seeing Lu Sheng there is an uproar in the entire crowd that it is Lu Sheng. That's Lu Sheng, the number 1 of the freshmen. He is this year's Dragon Champion. He's the one who crushed all the freshmen at the beginning of the year. The one who also defeated the spearsmanship instructor. He is also a psychic mentalist. What is he doing here? Could it be he is here to guard the tower? The rest of the crowd had lost its balance due to Lu Sheng's arrival. As Lu Sheng releases his mental energy, everyone becomes free again and everyone comes back to their positions. Then a handsome young man from 4th Saint University looks at Lu Sheng and says, "Ha ha ha, your 7th Saint Martial University is really interesting. Forget about the old student who is useless, they are relying on their new ones, it's so funny. A newbie is challenging someone from the 7 Saints list. You're 4 years of cultivation behind, you want to show off. Can you even?" But Lu Sheng didn't look at him either and walked straight towards the entrance of 7th Martial Tower. The commotion he made was not small, and the commotion in this area attracted many people to look up. Lu Sheng asks the receptionist as soon as he enters the tower, "Now I don't need to stand in line." Lu Sheng stood in the empty hall. The only woman in front of him was the woman he had met many times before. Well, the lady recognizes Lu Sheng and says, "You are the same person. I remember you are a new freshman who has not entered the tower yet. Why are you asking to guard the tower?" Still, the lady gives the ID card to Lu Sheng and says, "Okay, no problem. No need to stand in line. Isn't there anyone else? Go out and call people to spread the news that Myo Rengxing is about to beat the record." Lu Sheng took the student ID card handed over by the woman and calmly said, "Don't worry, it won't be broken. I am enough." The woman was stunned for several seconds when she heard Lu Sheng's words. During this time we see the same girl with a knife who was looking very upset, who was asking her companions what happened. Did you find him? But her companions were also empty-handed. They too were tired of searching for the person whom they wanted to find. Just then his partner comes and tells him, "I asked everywhere. He is on an AA mission." Hearing this, the girl with the knife screams, "What? Why did this happen at this time? We're finished. Without him, our university will definitely lose this time." Then the girl standing with him asks him, "Who is that person whom we are looking for? You are saying that he is very strong." The girl didn't have the heart to answer. "It doesn't matter who it is. That person is not at school. There is no chance to prove it." Then the girl says in the normal way, "So mysterious, everyone has gone to guard the tower now. Even Lu Sheng, who is only a freshman, went in. It seems like we are really in a hurry to fix this." The knife girl listened casually at first, but when she heard the word Lu Sheng, she immediately jumped up. "What did you say? Freshman Lu Sheng?" Lu Sheng entered the tower. "Yes, just now. See, the name has been added just now." The girl with the knife on her back quickly looked at the big screen. Sure enough, Lu Sheng's name appeared at the bottom of the screen. "Great, we will win for sure." The girl with the knife on her back touched her fist fiercely. Her listless eyes glowed again, and she seemed to come alive all of a sudden. She stared at Lu Sheng's performance ranking on the big screen, her eyes full of anticipation. She didn't know why she had so much confidence in Lu Sheng, why she was so excited. Perhaps this is a kind of pride belonging to sister fans, the girl says to her friend while wiping her tears of joy. The elevator door opened, and Lu Sheng was presented with a rather spacious room. Rather than calling it a martial arts room, Lu Sheng felt that it was more like a gaming room. Lu Sheng picked up the paper kept there and saw the rules written on it as to how to use it. Then put on the helmet and lie down peacefully on the bed. There is a word in my heart. It seemed that there were cold needles piercing through Lu Sheng's scalp into his skull. Of course this was just a feeling. When Lu Sheng opened his eyes again, suddenly he found himself in another room. This room was many, many times larger than the previous one, and it was completely dark, and there was an extra person standing in front of him, standing quietly. And Lu Sheng's silent chanting voice was also turned up to the loudest, and even his expression became weird. Lu Sheng looked at his not-so-delicate body and clothes and sighed softly. "It's the same form as in the dream space. In this case, I won't need to keep track of the record of the tower, thanks to the zombies I hunted in the dream space in the past year. I won't simply fight zombies here, right? The opponent in this tower is only one, Mingyu Martial Saint Tan Zhongyu." Seeing the spirit form of Tan Zhongyu in front of him, Lu Sheng wonders if Martial Saint looked like this when he was younger. Lu Sheng was just thinking too much after seeing him. Then suddenly that spirit body comes at a very high speed and attacks Lu Sheng's chest. However, Lu Sheng does not retreat even an inch from this attack. He was standing very still, and then he increases his power, due to which the spirit body goes far away due to pressure. After seeing Lu Sheng's power, the boy covered his hands and stepped back in fear. Lu Sheng still stood quietly, his eyes thoughtful. His strength is around that of a level 2 martial artist. "Your attack is negated by my vital Kai. I am not a big-hearted man. Even if it is the martial saint who wishes to fight me, I will fight back for sure." At this moment there is a distance between the boy and Lu Sheng. After saying his words, Lu Sheng sets out to attack that spirit body. His punch seemed different at this time. Lu Sheng's punch seemed to expand space, achieving the effect of infinite expansion. But in fact, this is just a visual effect after the speed and power control reach a certain height. Lu Sheng's fist hit the boy's face. The boy's face immediately became distorted and broken. In the end, the entire head also burst. The defeated youth did not leave any bodies behind, but simply destroyed them. At the same time, a new figure appeared before Lu Sheng's eyes. Seeing Tan Zhongyu's new form, Lu Sheng was a little worried. Have I used too much of my physical energy due to which new Tan Zhongyu's form has arisen? It seems that I have become a little too strong, due to which it is becoming a little difficult. As soon as the young man appeared, he took the initiative to attack Lu Sheng. The fist is fierce, with incredible speed. In the next second, the spirit body goes behind Lu Sheng and attacks him with a punch, which Lu Sheng stops and says, "Thanks to you, I have learned the basic lesson of this tower." Lu Sheng was still holding the punch of that spirit body, and Lu Sheng pulls him towards himself and gives a kick. This kick was very powerful, due to which the spirit body gets destroyed again, but as soon as it is destroyed, it comes back with the new form. Lu Sheng is a little worried after seeing this, and every time Lu Sheng was destroying that spirit body, the age of the spirit body was automatically increasing. Meaning the earlier one was younger, now the one has become a little older. Seeing the spirit body again in its new form, Lu Sheng understood something about the tower. Lu Sheng had understood that whenever he defeats him, he will not gain anything after defeating him. On the contrary, after defeating him, his physical energy will automatically keep decreasing. I have considered before that the Martial Saint Tower's trial may be related to martial power and vitality, but I never understood how the tower has provided so many people with such trials for so many years, as even the will of the Martial Saint should have been exhausted a long time. It turns out that it is maintained through the charging method. It charges itself through each level, bit by bit. This is used to stimulate vitality of the Martial Saint and generate opponents for us. The tower even collects a little more than what is generated, so his vitality is continuously strengthened. Thinking about it this way, Lu Sheng somewhat understands why the annual enrollment of the 7th Saint Martial University is not as good as that of the other 6 Saint Martial colleges. Because the martial towers of the other 6 Saint universities were built longer than the 7th Saint University, the Saint will in the tower will snowball bigger and stronger, and the effect of entering the Saint Tower trial will be better. Although it is said that Tan Zhongyu is the founder of the 7th Saint Martial Arts University, he is also the only existing martial Dao Saint of the 7th Saint Martial Arts University. Theoretically, he is in charge of all the affairs of the 7th Saint Martial University at the same time. While saying his words, Lu Sheng attacks the face of that spirit body with elbow, due to which that spirit body gets destroyed again. Then Lu Sheng continues his talk again. Doesn't matter which university you belong to, if you break the tower's record, you will get the opportunity to be summoned by him and get his inheritance. Under the same opportunity, it is understandable to choose an environment with better cultivation conditions. Tan Zhongyu, as the founder of the 7th Saint Martial University, in order to show his mind, he will even give more resources to the other 6 Saint Martial colleges. Not impossible. It's like when other people's children came to visit the house when they were young. Parents generally give priority to delicious and fun things to the guests, which is a reason. Thinking these things, there was a smile on Lu Sheng's face, because he had understood a lot about this tower, which was similar to his dream space, because dream space is most likely also created according to the will of one or more martial cultivators. And the dream space is much better than the tower. In the next 10,000 years, there will be as many martial cultivators as there are stars in the sky. It would not be impossible for them to merge their vitalities and create a spiritual world together. By this time, unknowingly Lu Sheng had destroyed many of Tan Zhongyu's spiritual bodies. Whenever he was destroying them, that spirit body was coming back with a new form every time, and its age was increasing every time along with the old form. Spiritual power is extracted every time. But this amount of spiritual power is just a drop in the bucket for him who is close to the 6th level of spiritual power and has 2 master wills. With a light punch, Lu Sheng shattered the boy in front of him, who was almost his age, shook his head and said, at the time when he has already started to practice his swordsmanship. It seems to be Tan Zhongyu in his 20s, already in a university, with strength around level 5. Tan Zhongyu, who appeared next, held a long knife in his hand, showing his sharp temperament. This time it is the swordsmanship's minor accomplishment. Next, Lu Sheng beat Tan Zhongyu to death one after another in different periods. This is him breaking through level 6. Till now Lu Sheng had destroyed many of Tan Zhongyu's spirit bodies. Lu Sheng had destroyed all the spirit bodies of Tan Zhongyu with just light punches, until now none of Tan Zhongyu's spirit bodies could stand in front of Lu Sheng. Whenever a new spirit body of his came, it would die within a few seconds. Just then a young man in his 30s appeared in front of Lu Sheng. The young man's face is calm, his breath is steady. He holds a sword, and his eyes are as warm as jade, giving people a feeling that the sharpness has been washed away, and the lead is washed away. Lu Sheng's eyes lit up when he saw the young man. 32-year-old Tan Zhongwu, the pinnacle of the 6th level, has achieved swordsmanship. He is known as the #1 person under the master of his generation. As Lu Sheng spoke, he moved his hands and fingers slowly. It is said that martial sage Tan Zhongyu is a late bloomer and did not show the image of a saint until he was about to step into the realm of a master. Let me take a good look at the strength of the so-called #1 person under the Grandmaster, the image of the saint. Dazzling golden light burst out from Lu Sheng's body, and a terrifying aura erupted from him like a roaring mountain and a tsunami, and his whole body was like a rapidly rising sun. Looking at the young Tan Zhongyu in front of him, Lu Sheng smiled. "We are both at level 6. If I were to use my spear, I would tear you to pieces." During this, all the students outside the tower were looking at the screen. Looking at the huge screen, behind Miao Rengxing's name, the number 21 quietly changed to 22. The faces of the students of the 7th Saint Martial Arts University all changed. There were shocks, but more were still ugly. Miao Rengxing's result is very close to the best record of the 7th Saint Martial Arts University in the history of 7th Saint Martial Tower. If Miao Rengxing passes another floor, he will reach the 23rd floor, completely tied the historical record of their 7th Shangwu University. Then guarding the tower this time is not just a simple matter of losing the privilege of Martial Tower for a year, and losing face for their old students. Before the record is refreshed, Miao Rengxing's name will always be high on the list of historical records of the Washeng Pagoda, overwhelming their entire 7th Shangwu University. And their old students will also become sinners of the 7th Saint Martial University. Chen Yixuan was also standing with all those students who had already lost in this tower. He was very worried seeing Miao Rengxing ahead of him. So shameful. I'm losing face. I have only reached the 20th floor. Is this the strength of someone from the 7 Saints leaderboard? Seeing him in so much tension, his friend says, "Don't worry, Miao Rengxing is not that strong yet. The 22nd floor is his limit." The martial saint who has reached the peak of level 6 and mastered swordsmanship is not someone who can be defeated so easily. That Miao Rengxing, he won't be able to do that. Chen Yixuan's face was serious even after listening to his friend, but what if he does? What if he gets lucky? Then wouldn't I be the guilty one from the 7th Saint Martial University? He only made a guess based on his own strength, and had never fought against Miao Rengxing, so he couldn't judge the upper limit of Miao Rengxing's strength at all. Chen Yixuan didn't dare to think further. At this moment, there were bursts of surprised whispers in my ears. This Lu Sheng's speed of breaking through the level is so fast, it has already reached more than 10 floors. Chen Yixuan's expression changed, and he looked towards the bottom of the big screen. The girl with the knife who had become Lu Sheng's fan. She looks at the screen and says he is very fast. He is on floor 10, and now he is on floor 12. We are talking and he has cleared 5 floors. He is now on floor 21. Just 1 floor below Miao Rengxing. Lu Sheng is now ranked 2nd. He has also surpassed Chen Yixuan. Seeing Lu Sheng clearing the floor so fast, Chen Yixuan was not able to understand anything. He looks at Lu Sheng and thinks, how can this happen? How can he clear the floor so fast? And at this time both Lu Sheng and Miao Rengxing were thinking of clearing the floor in their respective rooms as soon as possible, and for this they were working very hard. Lu Sheng was clearing each and every floor of the tower very fast. Everyone was surprised to see Lu Sheng's speed because no one had done it before to clear the tower so quickly. That's why all the old students present outside the tower were very surprised to see this, because a new student is clearing the tower so fast, and he has reached the floor where even the old students have not been able to reach. At this time on the screen, Lu Sheng had reached 23rd rank while Miao Rengxing had just reached 22nd rank. Despite entering late, Lu Sheng had cleared so many floors very quickly and had even come 1 rank ahead of Miao Rengxing. As for the old students who came to 4th Saint Martial University with Miao Rengxing, they were all shocked when they saw this scene. Seeing Lu Sheng ahead of Miao Rengxing on the screen, Miao Rengxing's friends angrily say, 7th Saint Martial University, you cannot even accept your defeat. You dare to fake the leaderboard's results. You still have the face to do that. All the students present there thought Lu Sheng's speed was fake because they were wondering how he could be so fast. Then the receptionist girl comes there, and after listening to the student of 4th Saint Martial University, she makes a face and tells him, the main body of the tower is the martial saint's vitality. Are you saying this is a cover-up? Till now this receptionist girl had not seen anyone's rank on the screen. Hearing this, the student of 4th St. Martial University says, "I am not blaming Martial Saint. But this result looks fake at first glance." Hearing his words, the receptionist girl says what nonsense he is talking, but as soon as she sees Lu Sheng's rank on the screen, she too gets surprised. Because Lu Sheng has created a new historical record by clearing so many floors so quickly. The knife girl standing on one side was also very happy to see this performance of Lu Sheng. And the girl standing next to him was very surprised to see this kind of power of Lu Sheng. What kind of power he has, it is absolutely ridiculous. And there the knife girl thinks excitedly in her mind, "I knew it, I just knew it, this is who this guy is." Seeing such a performance of Lu Sheng, the surrounding noise immediately calmed down like a tide and drowned in a strange silence. By this time Lindsay had also reached there. He too was completely stunned to see such a performance by Lu Sheng. He too was not able to understand what to say. The chubby boy opened his mouth a little bit, looked at the eye-catching and familiar name in the distance, and muttered in his mouth, "God, Brother Sheng, he is being amazing again." During this time, Lu Sheng had already disturbed many spirit bodies inside the floor. At this time, Lu Sheng retracted his fist slowly, and the golden kai and flame attached to his hand retracted like flowing water. Flames were also coming out of his punch, and he was destroying every spiritual body of Tan Zhongyu with his punch. His face was calm, but there was surprise in his eyes. This is the master martial arts that has completely condensed his own, and the sword technique has also stepped into the control realm. He deserves to be called the first person under the master at that time. Lu Sheng asked himself, if it was more than a week ago. I have not yet completed the mastery of physical strength in the cold weapon training room, and the foundation of martial arts has not been solidified. I guess this won't be a smooth journey. He is worthy of being called the martial saint. He is a tricky opponent. As soon as Lu Sheng finished sighing, he felt a convulsion in his head. Suddenly a mental force far exceeding the previous one was abruptly drawn out. Lu Sheng's complexion was a little ugly. Lu Sheng had defeated so many spiritual forms that now it was the turn of an even more powerful spiritual form to come, which had absorbed a lot of Lu Sheng's physical energy, due to which he was having a headache. The fee for this next level is rather large. If it was any other student, their psychic energy would have been completely drained from this. His next target is shown in front of Lu Sheng, seeing which Lu Sheng says what has appeared this time is from Master Realm Tan Zhongyu. At this time, the figure of the next level condensed out. Standing in front of Lu Sheng was an ordinary, middle-aged man. That old man was standing in the sky, and looked at Lu Sheng quietly with his hands behind his back. His eyes were extremely bright like stars in the sky. The ordinary face embellished has also become extraordinary. Lu Sheng looked at the man, his eyes hurt slightly, and he felt as if he was looking directly at a knife. The sharpness of the knife seemed to want to cut his brains open. Due to the pressure of Tan Zhongwu's internal keys, Lu Sheng was having a lot of difficulty in getting erect, because at this time Tan Zhongwu's internal keys were busy hurting him. What a powerful Grand Master! Lu Sheng took a deep breath. The current Lu Sheng is not a novice in martial arts, and he understands that there are strong and weak points in the way of masters. The man in front of him is obviously a very strong Master Wei, far surpassing the general 7th level Master Wei, and has the qualifications to reach the 9th level. The martial saint Tan Zhongyu became a master at 42 years old. In the same month, he fought with 8 masters, winning 7 fights and ending in a draw in 1. Bearing this pressure, Lu Sheng slowly stands up and says, "Very good, then come and try me. With your sword split me open, or before that, be burned by my fire." His whole body also became dazzling. Lu Sheng's limbs stretched out, and clusters of golden flames shot out from his body. Because this is the spiritual world, there is no need to worry about the flame burning the clothes. In the breath, Lu Sheng has completely turned into a round of burning golden sun. After finishing speaking, Lu was about to ignite the sky and rushed towards Tan Zhongyu at a high speed. The golden flame dragged a long golden tail flame behind him, like a gorgeous cloak, hunting against the wind. Lu Sheng also has the pride of Lu Sheng. He is unparalleled in combat power, pushing the same level horizontally. Today, I want to test my rank 6 self against a rank 7 master through a fight with a real master who has rank 9 potential. Let's fight. While saying his words, Lu Sheng was moving very fast towards Tan Zhongyu. The fist flames are soaring, and the golden stellar energy is mixed with the 4th level flames, forming a golden flame tornado shape, directly attacking Tan Zhongyu. Nothing happened to Tan Zhongyu due to this attack, but his expression was indifferent, and a knife light bloomed from the bottom of his hand. Tan Zhongyu raised his hand to attack Lu Sheng. Just seeing Tan Zhongyu's aura pressure, Lu Sheng got scared in his eyes, and sweat was also coming out from his forehead. As the invisible knife marks passed by, Lu Sheng saw a pure vacuum between himself and Tan Zhongyu. This attack was so powerful that it even tore the ground from the middle, and due to this attack there was dust. As soon as the dust clears, we see Lu Sheng whose aura and flames were all disintegrated, and even his arms felt a pain of being cut and bleeding. Lu Sheng was shocked from the bottom of his heart. His body twisted at a strange angle. The invisible saber airbrushed Lu Sheng's shoulder and flew out, creating a long twisted ripple visible to the naked eye in the air. This slash of Tan Zhongyu was so dangerous that it forced Lu Sheng to think. What a horrifying slash. My vital Kai and level 4 fire were melted away like tofu in one blow. It felt like I would be split into two for a moment. Lu Sheng was stunned for some time after seeing Tan Zhongyu's power, but thinking about it he feels excited, because he was looking for an opponent who could compete with him. Having such a strong opponent, if I can be squeezed to my limits, how cool would that be? Under the pressure of such a life and death situation. Just thinking about all these things, Lu Sheng was feeling very excited inside. He cleaned his lips, and his eyes shone with brilliance. Just now, his agility finally broke through from subtlety to control. Not only that, but there are also several martial arts that have broken through to the subtleties under the stimulation of life and death pressure. He is closer to the second form of perfected martial arts. This fight had made Lu Sheng so excited that he had crossed his limits by now, and he was moving towards Tan Zhongyu at a very high speed to attack him. Seeing Lu Sheng coming towards him, Tan Zhongyu attacks Lu Sheng like last time. This time he did a lot of attacks. However, Lu Sheng was avoiding all these attacks and was reaching Tan Zhongyu at a very high speed. He thinks to himself as he moves closer and puts all his Kai into his punch. The secret technique of the stellar body refining art, condensing my Kai into one point, like holding a star in my hand, like with a sun in between my fingertips, grasping the star. This time, more flames were coming out of Lu Sheng's body than before, and this time he wanted to eliminate Tan Zhongyu with just one punch, for which he used all his Kai in the perfect stellar heaven technique. 7th Shangwu University Vice President's Office. Zhao Kangtai was sitting at his desk, holding a document that had just been delivered, his eyelids twitching wildly. This kid, 8 rank 6 martial artists, including 2 peak rank 6, one of them having fire elemental power. Lu Sheng almost killed them all with one shot. Also, it was a devastating and one-sided battle. The information in Zhao Kangtai's hand was just sent by the General Office of the Kyoto Provincial Government. It is about the notice and summary of the task process of a double A level credit task adjusted to triple A level, as well as a copy written by the police chief of Yan City. Nearly 1 million words of thank you letters. Eloquent and eloquent, the whole article spares no effort to praise a certain student of the 7th Shangwu University. After Zhao Kangtai read all the reports, he relaxed and sat down on the chair, and whispered a name in a complicated tone that Lu Sheng. I originally thought he would settle down for a bit, and then show up again. I didn't think he would give me such a big surprise now. Such peerless combat power, and an incredible potential just like Martial Saint back then. Such talent and power is enough to get the Martial Saint's attention. I need to report this as soon as possible. Even before Zhao Kangtai could pick up the phone, the receptionist girl hurriedly came to Zhao Kangtai and said, Vice Principal Tower, there is an emergency here. Seeing the receptionist girl so nervous, Zhao Kangtai tells her, what are you panicking about? It's about the result of defending the tower, right? In the past 2 days, he also heard that Myo Rengsheng, the 4th Saint Martial Master, came to their 7th Saint Martial Master to break into the tower. The receptionist girl are probably upset because Myo Rengsheng might have cleared the tower, and the result has come out. If Myo Rengsheng succeeds in breaking into the tower, a thought came to Zhao Kangtai's mind, but he didn't continue to think about it. There is nothing he can do about this kind of fair competition among students. There is nothing to do except passively accept the result. To be honest, from the moment he learned that Myo Rengsheng had come to break into the tower, Zhao Kangtai was already ready to lose face. It just depends on how big the embarrassment is. However, the receptionist girl interrupts him and says the 4th Saint Martial University, it's not about them. It's Lu Sheng. He broke our university's tower's record. He currently on the 26th floor. As soon as Lu Sheng's name came up, he was shocked to hear that Lu Sheng had broken the record of the tower. On hearing this, he did not stay there even for a moment. He broke his window and started going straight towards the tower. Not only the principal was going towards the tower, but other masters were also going towards the tower. The news of breaking the tower's record had reached all the masters, so everyone wanted to reach the tower as soon as possible. The people standing below were surprised to see so many masters together, more than the sky. All of them could not understand what happened and where the vice principal of the university was also going. And here, while going towards the tower, sweat was coming out from the forehead of the vice principal because he heard such news about Lu Sheng, which was very surprising news. That's why he wants to reach the tower as soon as possible and see the result with his own eyes. The vice principal reaches Marshall Saint Tower as quickly as possible and lands there directly. The impact of the landing set off bursts of smoke and dust, awakening many people from their dreams. It's like throwing a boulder into a calm pond, causing waves to rise. Kai and blood are like a stove, and essence is like smoke. Seeing the vice principal there directly, all the students were surprised as to what the vice principal Zhao Kangtai is doing here. It seems that due to Zhao Kangtai's arrival, the effect of some invisible force field is increasing, which is distorting the surrounding air. And at this time blue-colored aura was coming out from his side. However, this was just the beginning because as soon as Zhao Kangtai landed, 3 more people landed there. 4 thin or burly stalwart bodies stand in 4 directions of the open space. The crowd dispersed in all directions. Seeing all this, all the students move away from there. Not only the vice principal but all 4 vice principals were present here. If you think about it carefully, it seems normal, with all the exaggerated things happening. It would be strange if the 4 vice principals at the Grand Master level were not alarmed. Then the eyes of the 4 of them turned to the big screen in front of them in unison. When they saw the words on the big screen clearly, the pupils of all 4 shrank severely. Lu Sheng, the 7th St. Martial Arts University, score, 27th floor of the St. Martial Tower. There was sweat on the forehead of all 4 of them after seeing the result, although they all came here in a hurry after learning the result. But even after seeing this truth with their own eyes, they all could not stop themselves from being surprised. Moreover, Zhao Kangtai remembered it very clearly. Before coming here, when he was sitting in his office, the receptionist girl came and told him about the result that Lu Sheng is currently on 26th floor. At this time Zhao Kangtai was very surprised because as soon as he heard that Lu Sheng was on the 26th floor, he reached there at a very fast speed, and in these few minutes Lu Sheng again broke another layer and moved ahead. The other 3 vice principals of the 7th Shangwu University were silent. But then one of the vice principals, who was older, said a little nervously. The martial saint said that if someone under the age of 30 can break through the 23rd level, he will be able to summon him. Hearing that, the other vice principal also said, if you can break through the 24th floor, you can receive his guidance for 3 days. The 3rd vice principal, who was a girl, also said seriously, you can join his sect and get his inheritance. All 4 of them were very surprised to see such performance of Lu Sheng, that how is Lu Sheng doing this? After listening to the 3 of them, Zhao Kangtai said with a complicated expression that he is already on the 27th floor. This matter is over, let's jointly report it to Majesty and let heaven listen. All 3 vice principals agreed with Zhao Kangtai, yes, we should tell the Majesty together about this. The conversation between the 4 masters was short and concise, but when this conversation reached the adjacent group of students, it was enough to create panic among all the students. Hearing this, they all started talking among themselves. Damn it, this Lu Sheng can be directly accepted into the disciples of Wu Sheng. The record of Wu Sheng Pagoda is almost destroyed by him. Counting 50 years from now, I am afraid that no one will be able to match it. That's right, Lu Sheng is probably the strongest student in the history of 7 Saints University. After listening to all these students, Lin Zi says, he is the strongest freshman. You can no longer describe it as awesome. I can only look up to Brother Sheng in this life. There was a lot of happiness on Lin Zi's face while saying his words. It seems that he is more happy than Lu Sheng. One of these students, biting the nail of his hand, puzzle face. This Lu Sheng is too perverted. He suddenly appeared without any warning. When that boy was speaking bad about Lu Sheng, the knife girl was standing next to him, who, after listening to him, brings the phone screen directly in front of him so that he can see it. The post of Lu Sheng's cold weapon training was visible on the phone screen, which the knife girl shows to the boy. The boy gets shocked after seeing all the posts of Lu Sheng. He was in no condition to say anything. He was just confused. Then the girl with the knife says proudly, I have already posted about Lu Sheng's strength. He passed the 5 stages of the training room, but no one believes him yet. Now see his power yourself. She has always been brooding over the fact that her campus network post was suppressed and her account was blocked. Now that she has the opportunity, she immediately started to fight back. The boy makes a bad face and says that it seems that Lu Sheng's power was already visible but we could not see it. That boy was cursing himself at this time that I myself was blind that I could not see such a powerful person in front of me. He was very nervous after imagining Lu Sheng's power. Lu Sheng looked very big in front of him and he looked like an ant. Here on the 27th floor of Martial Tower, Lu Sheng's condition had worsened a lot. Blood was coming from his eyes and his condition was not looking good at the moment. Still he consoled himself and said, "Martial master, this is also an opportunity for me to become a master." Lu Sheng knelt on one knee, his back was slightly bent, and his chest heaved violently. The natural breathing method was operating to the extreme, quickly recovering the physical and mental strength he had consumed in that move just now. Lu Sheng felt that his head was about to split, as if his brain had been cut open and split open. He raised his head slowly, his eyes red and bloodshot. At this time he was covered with a faint golden light, and at this moment he was only looking at Tan Zhongyu's spiritual body. And the old man in front of him slowly starts disappearing because Lu Sheng's perfect stellar heaven punch had hit that old man directly, due to which Lu Sheng had won the fight. Lu Sheng's fight with Tan Zhongyu was very dangerous because Lu Sheng had given everything in this fight, due to which Lu Sheng was able to defeat Tan Zhongyu by breaking his limits. After the victory of this fight, Lu Sheng has now become very powerful. He is like a mountain which is not so easy to move. Within a short time, Tan Zhongyu's spiritual body completely disappears from there and Lu Sheng starts recovering himself and his power. Lu Sheng meditates and recovers himself within some time. After his recovery, Lu Sheng was very happy because he has broken his power level, which he can feel in his body. Feeling this power of his, he says, "My visualization of the great sun is almost complete. Perhaps after another life and death duel, it can be fully formed. At that time, you can officially hit the 7th level Grandmaster realm." Fighting against Tan Zhongyu empty-handed, he created the pressure of being on the verge of life and death, and his martial arts has already stepped into the microscopic realm. It is estimated that it will not be long before they can all break through and completely unlock the second form of Shiquan martial arts. Lu Sheng's accumulation is too strong. The only difference is an opportunity. The Martial Saint Tower gave him this opportunity, and a breakthrough was a matter of course. Suddenly mental power was extracted, and a new figure slowly appeared. The Tan Zhongyu who came this time was more powerful than before because he was in the Great Master period, which is going to be much more powerful. Seeing the powerful Tan Zhongyu in front of him, Lu Sheng had sweat on his forehead because this time Tan Zhongyu had not only absorbed Lu Sheng's power, but the Tan Zhongyu who had come this time had also come with all the earlier absorbed powers, which was very powerful. Lu Sheng looked calmly at Tan Zhongyu, who was getting stronger and stronger in front of him, with a kind of calmness and confidence in everything. Lu Sheng moved his body, and a spear quickly emerged from his hand. It looks like a red crystal dragon pattern. Not only that, but the Wujian Daolun also appeared beside Lu Sheng. Lu Sheng says in excitement, thinking about this fight. "Next, it's time to test the limit of my true strength." After speaking, Lu Sheng strolled towards Tan Zhongyu. The blazing and dazzling light like the sun on his body faded away. Lu Sheng was going very fast to attack Tan Zhongyu. His eyes were completely cold, and this is going to be the last fight of Lu Sheng and Tan Zhongyu, which will be very dangerous. At this time, everyone outside the martial tower had their eyes on the screen because the number on the screen could change at any time. At this time everyone was silent. No one was in a position to say anything because this had never happened before, so no one was talking meaninglessly. Sometimes the number was 27 and sometimes 28, so everyone was calm. The 4 vice principals were also very calm because anything can happen. Suddenly the number stopped at 28th rank. Lu Sheng had now reached floor 28. And at this time Lu Sheng becomes the number 1 ranker of Martial Tower who has reached 28th floor till now. Vice Principal Zhao Kangtai gets very surprised after seeing this. After this, all the students run towards the exit door of Martial Tower because it is time for Lu Sheng to come out. All the students looked very happy. They wanted to see their hero come and see and witness this historic moment. All the students were standing in front of the exit door with great excitement, wondering when and how they could see their hero. But who is coming out of the door? It was Myo Rengsheng. While coming out of the door, he thinks, since when have so many people started coming outside? Seeing so many people standing outside, Myo Rengsheng happily thinks to himself that maybe they are shocked to see my result. Then a girl comes in front of Myo Rengsheng and asks him to date him. Myo Rengsheng, being a strict boy, says okay, no problem. Myo Rengsheng was feeling very happy in his mind. He felt that he has broken the record of the tower, and all these people have come only for him. Hence he was lost in his thoughts. Seeing him like this, all the student girls were a little scared that he was laughing in a very obscene manner. This guy is very scary. Just in front of the door, Myo Rengsheng was lost in his thoughts when Lu Sheng passed by him and asked him to step aside. Myo Rengsheng still doesn't move from the door, and as soon as it hits Lu Sheng's body, Myo Rengsheng turns and falls down, unable to understand what happened to him. Lu Sheng says sorry for him, but as he walks out of the door, the students start screaming. They all were very happy to see Lu Sheng. Miao Rengsheng, who fell down, gets up and looks at Lu Sheng angrily and says, "How dare you?" Lu Sheng looked at him coldly as if you were blocking my path. Miao Rengsheng was standing right in front of the exit door. Lu Sheng asks him to move away from the door, but Miao Rengsheng does not listen, due to which Miao Rengsheng gets pushed by Lu Sheng and falls with great force. Miao Rengsheng was lying on the ground and he was looking angrily at Lu Sheng. Moving ahead of him, Lu Sheng says, "You are blocking the way, move out of the way." Hearing Lu Sheng's words, Miao Rengsheng gets very angry and starts grinding his teeth in anger. The lines of veins on his forehead were also visible due to anger. He still doesn't know who the person passing in front of him is, because till now Miao Rengsheng feels that he has broken the record of the tower. Miao Rengsheng, lying on the ground, becomes so enraged by Lu Sheng's words that he comes to attack Lu Sheng with a punch. With a furious expression on his face, he punched the man who had dared to push him out of the way. Kai and blood surged, and the aura of a 6th level peak warrior was released unabashedly. Golden-colored aura was coming out from Miao Rengsheng's punch, and he wanted to defeat this guy with all his strength so that he could show his glory in front of others. He attacks Lu Sheng and says, "Do you know with whom you are talking? My name is Miao Rengsheng." As soon as he says this, Miao Rengsheng attacks Lu Sheng with all his strength. Due to this attack of Miao Rengsheng, golden-colored aurora comes out and the attack causes a blast. This attack of Miao Rengsheng was very powerful, which created very strong air pressure, and the other students standing there controlled themselves from this pressure. Due to this attack, there was dust there, and as the dust cleared, we saw that Lu Sheng was holding Miao Rengsheng by his neck. At this moment, Miao Rengsheng was like a little chicken, held in the air by one hand. Miao Rengsheng was trying his best to get free from Lu Sheng's hand, but none of his efforts were successful. He was fluttering towards some chicken. Then Lu Sheng brought it near his eyes in the same way. "What? Is it still appropriate for you to block the road? And what were you saying earlier? Who are you?" For so long, his neck was stuck in Lu Sheng's hand, and within a short time he became unconscious. Spit was coming out of his mouth. He could not even answer even a single question of Lu Sheng, and he became unconscious. Lu Sheng was carrying Miao Rengsheng like a bag of garbage. He slowly walked out of Martial Saint Tower, and as soon as he came out, Lu Sheng threw Miao Rengsheng in the middle of the crowd, and looked at the crowd with slanted eyes. Everyone's eyes were on Miao Rengsheng, who was thrown towards the crowd. Everyone was surprised to see him like this. Miao Rengsheng's companions, who had come with him, get shocked seeing Miao Rengsheng like this and wonder what happened to boss. They quickly reach Miao Rengsheng, who is unconscious on the ground, and start waking him up. All of them were the same people who were happy some time ago when Miao Rengsheng cleared so many floors, and now their voice is not even coming out. All the students present there were looking at Lu Sheng with surprised eyes, but Lu Sheng was absolutely normal because he had already predicted that if he showed good results on the floor, then when he came out, he would be treated like a legend. Lu Sheng moves forward slowly. All the students standing there look at Lu Sheng and wonder if they are seeing a new legend with their eyes. However, just then Lin Zi shouts and says, "Did you see it? This is the strength of my holy brother." Next, the 7 saints will usher in an era belonging to Lu Sheng. Hearing Lin Zi's words, Lu Sheng, who was moving ahead, suddenly stops and thinks in confusion. What is he saying? On hearing Lin Zi's words, the crowd became wild and they all started shouting and praising Lu Sheng. The crowd started shouting. Someone was saying, "Yes, this is true. Lu Sheng is the strongest person in history." Someone was saying, "He is so cool. You are the savior of the 7 saints." Every student started saying something different. The 7th Holy Martial Arts University, which has been in decline for a long time, really needs someone as sharp as Lu Sheng. A figure rising like a comet, like a blazing sun in the sky, came to bring them a hearty carnival. Those who knew Lu Sheng before and had more or less interactions with him. Those freshmen who had been beaten by Lu Sheng had their depression and grievances that had been accumulated in their hearts cleared away at this moment. All those who had been beaten by Lu Sheng till now were feeling proud of themselves that Lu Sheng has beaten me, and all of them were asking each other, "Have you ever been beaten by Lu Sheng?" Lu Sheng was not surprised to see such a large crowd in front of him and to hear his praise. From the moment he entered the tower, he had almost predicted this outcome. Hearing all this, he thinks to himself, perhaps being a saint in front of others is also one of the driving forces of martial arts. Lu Sheng was feeling very good after listening to all these things. After all, he is only an 18-year-old boy. Chen Yixuan, standing at a distance, also sees Lu Sheng's power and says, "What rank will Lu Sheng have in the 7th saint list? I'm afraid there won't even be room for the giant Buddha like Saint Lu Sheng." The 4 vice principals of the 7th St. Martial University looked at Lu Sheng in front of them with complicated expressions. After seeing Lu Sheng himself and seeing him walking out of Wusheng Tower calmly holding Miao Ren Qingping in his arms, the 4 of them no longer had any doubts in their hearts. Seeing all the students enjoying, Zhao Kangtai says while leaving from there, "When I was a boy in bright clothes and angry horses, I saw all the flowers in Chang'an in one day. Let them enjoy this moment." Then a man who was far away from the crowd saw all this and said, "I did not expect to encounter such a big incident during this trip." The record of the 7th Martial Saint Tower was broken by a freshman. "Junior sister Yang Yuan, let's go find your classmate quickly. Hurry up and see us and then go back." Everyone in the 7th University is now as if they have been injected with chicken blood. They are too dangerous and should not be stayed for a long time. Yang Yuan, who has come here with her friends, sees Lu Sheng in the crowd and says in a romantic way, "No, I've found him." The young man was stunned and said strangely, "Junior sister Yang Yuan, you don't want to say the person you came to find is Lu Sheng?" Yang Yuan, after hearing what the boy said, turns and starts leaving from there without replying. Meanwhile, on the other side, Lu Sheng was surrounded by a crowd. Everyone in the crowd was taking Lu Sheng's photo, and Lu Sheng was completely surrounded by the crowd. Everyone was saying to Lu Sheng while taking photos, "I didn't expect you to have such a kind side." Everyone was saying their own things. Seeing Yang Yuan going away angrily, the guy with her quickly goes after her. "No, I didn't mean that." Then Yang Yuan says angrily, "You are right. He is too much self-righteous." Yang Yuan's steps were fast. The young man quickly grabbed Yang Yuan's hand with his dirty laugh and started laughing and saying, "Hey, don't be angry, junior sister Yang Yuan. That was not what I meant. I believe it. I believe it. Isn't that okay?" As soon as the guy caught hold of Yang Yuan's hand, Yang Yuan removed his hand angrily and said, "Release, senior. I am very grateful to you for guiding me to find someone, but please pay attention to your words and deeds." After listening to Yang Yuan, the person says, "I didn't mean to do that." Before he could say anything, someone had come behind him. It was Lindsay who came behind him and placed his hand directly on his head and said, "You didn't hear when they asked you to get out of the way. Are you deaf? You, what are you doing?" The young man shouted in panic, "You even dare to harass my brother Sheng's women. What do you think I want to do?" A sinister smile appeared on Lindsay's face. After this, Lindsay starts beating that person. He beats him for a long time. While getting beaten by Lindsay, he repeatedly asks him, spare my life, fatty." But Lindsay does not stop and keeps beating him continuously. After beating him well, Lindsay looks at the power of each of his punches and thinks that it is very strange that a plate person lasted so long. Why can't I achieve Brother Sheng's overbearing effect? Suddenly he remembered the purpose of his visit. He turned around and said to Yang Yuan seriously, "Yang Yuan, right. Brother Sheng asked me to tell you to wait for a while and let's have dinner together later." Yang Yuan blinked, "Are you Lu Sheng's friend?" Lindsay grinned, "Brother Sheng is my boss. He just noticed you coming. He is now, well, you know, it is not easy to get away, so let me come to you first. Let me show you around first, sister-in-law." Lindsay greeted him very enthusiastically, but when Yang Yuan heard the word holy sister-in-law, her pretty face turned red. Although she didn't say a word, her steps became brisk. The young man lying on the ground stared at the dense shade of trees above his head, and his body couldn't help trembling slightly. Lu Sheng turned out to be really Yang Yuan's classmate. "I'm finished." After some time, the story shifts to the vice principal's office, where the vice principal sees the Lu Sheng and says, "It's really surprising, classmate Lu Sheng." Entering Wusheng Tower for the first time, it broke the historical record of Martial Saint Tower. "You are so young and promising. This situation is very special. The specific rewards will have to wait for Lord Martial Saint's arrangement. And after you refresh the Wusheng Tower record, the credits awarded to you will also be distributed as soon as possible." After listening to the vice principal, Lu Sheng asks, "Are there any reward credits for climbing the tower?" Zhao Kangtai answers this question of Lu Sheng. "You don't know, no matter which Martial Saint Tower it is, as long as it can break the record, it will receive a credit award from the St. Martial University." In the middle of his words, Zhao Kangtai suddenly looked at Lu Sheng with an expression as if he had seen a ghost. "You don't want to?" Lu Sheng nodded and said calmly, "If possible, I want to graduate as soon as possible." Zhao Kangtai stopped talking. His expression suddenly became more complicated, and he waved his hand. "I see, then you can leave first. I'll let you know when I have news later." "Good." Lu Sheng stood up and left the office. After Lu Sheng left, Zhao Kangtai made a call on the landline in front of him. When someone says hello on the phone, Zhao Kangtai always says it is me. Then Zhao Kangtai says in a serious voice on the phone, I guess we should wait a little longer. Why? Lu Sheng's performance. Zhao Kangtai glanced at the direction Lu Sheng left and said slowly in a strange tone, "It seems that it has just begun." So friends, chapter ends here. Now what will happen next, we will know in the next chapter. And don't forget to give number out of 100 to the chapter, and we will meet in another video. Till then, goodbye. And don't forget to subscribe the channel and like the video too.